Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Squad Goals Podcast, Episode 8. I'm your host, Gabe Lerziak. I've got my star, Seth, in the flesh.
What's up, guys?
And over the phone, we got our other co-star, Simone.
Yo, what is good?
What is good, my guy? So today is going to be a very interesting episode for all of you guys. We are going to be doing our all-time best 11 team of the best players of all time. But before we get to that, Seth, I think it's time we catch people up on some transfer news that we may have missed from last week. You want to get them started?
Yeah, so we got a few transfers here that I'd like to go over just to, keep up with the fresh news of the football world.
Right.
So, Simone, I'm gonna ask you
For a quick take.
Yeah, for a quick take on each one of these players, I'm gonna go through. And once he gives his quick take, I'll give my quick take, and then we'll just go down the list so we can get into the all-time best 11.
Love it.
All right, so let's get it going here. All right, Simone. So first player, Gabriel Jesus, from Manchester City to Arsenal, 57 million. What do you think?
I think he was definitely underrated at City. He is a very good striker. He's just not as consistent as they probably want him to be. That's how they need a consistent striker, and he's although he is a good player, he isn't always consistent. I think after Arsenal lost some of their forwards, he'll be a good fit there for sure. He'll get his playing time and hopefully get in better form because he has the ability to. So I think this was a good transfer for him and Arsenal.
Yeah, I think this was a good transfer for both parties. I mean, Man City being able to sell Jesus for about 55 million, and then being able to bring in someone like Erling Haaland. I think it was a perfect decision for Man City to do that. Good for Arsenal too. They needed a good balanced striker after all Aubameyang and Lacazette left. So yeah, really good by both parties.
There we go.
All right, so next transfer here, Calvin Phillips from Leeds United to Manchester City, about $53 million. What do you think?
I think this was a big signing. This kid is good, but the thing is, Man City isn't a team that really needs midfielders. They have some of the best midfielders in the world, and as much as this guy deserves to be playing at a top club like that, I feel like he's not going to be getting as much playing time as he would if he stayed at Leeds or went to another club. So I think that this is, he wants to join this big club, which is great, but I'm a little worried for his playing time. But aside from that, I mean, they bought him for a reason, so they're definitely going to use him. But if he flops there, if he doesn't perform well, in the first few games, he's out. That's just how it is at Man City.
Right, yeah. I also think this is actually a really good transfer for both parties here. I think that Leeds were able to, bring in some good revenue off Calvin Phillips so they can continue to build their new young squad. Right. It's tough to lose a player like that, but, they have the funds now to bring in some new talent. And for Man City, I actually think this is a really good signing because this is the player now that can come in and replace Fernandinho, who just left Man City. So they're kind of missing that that two-way player that can play in that center defensive mid. I mean, you have Rodri, who normally starts there, but Fernandinho would come in sometimes and play that as well. Now I think that can be Calvin Phillips. So I think this is a great signing for Man City. All right, on to the next one. Frank Kessie from AC Milan to FC Barcelona on a free transfer. What do you think about Frank Kessie?
So one of my best friends is a Milan fan, and I feel really bad for him because Kessie is an amazing player. This guy has just, slowly but surely getting better and better, and he's become a very good and crucial midfielder. I believe he's defensive, but yeah, this guy is a powerhouse, and he's going to do really good at Barcelona. He's a great player. I think Barcelona got a steal for him being free. This 100%. Young kid, he's only 25, He's already so good, and they got him for free, and so Barcelona is set with that. Like they got a great crazy deal. I know Kessie is definitely gonna get a new environment to play in, which I think is good for him and his experience as a player. But I do feel bad for Milan because they did lose a very strong player.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It's really tough for AC Milan. I mean, I think Kessie didn't even want to sign a new contract with them, and then they literally lost him and got nothing in return. It was a free transfer, so that's really tough. That's gonna leave a big hole in Milan's midfield next season. I mean, like you said, this is a young player. He brings a lot of energy. He looked really impressive last season. He has a lot of potential here for Barcelona. I think it's a great signing for them, and not very good for AC Milan to lose a player of that quality for free. All right, next transfer here. Sebastian Haller from Ajax to Borussia Dortmund for about $34 million. What do you think?
I think that Dortmund is set right now.
I agree. They're going crazy
Haller,
right now.
yo,
Like-
after selling Holland, they went crazy and they bought an entire new team essentially.
I know.
Yikes.
And yeah, it does suck to
Ridiculous.
lose Holland. Yeah, exactly. It is ridiculous. But the thing is, like, this is what happens when you lose like one of the best players in the world. Holland is definitely top 5 at the moment, and after losing him, everyone was worried for Dortmund. But hey, they got another world-class striker. Haller is amazing at Ajax. I remember he did really well in the Champions League either this year or last year, scoring a lot of goals. I don't know how many exactly, but this guy's really good, and he's only 28, so he's a little older than Holland, but this guy is still in his prime, and he's just it's a solid signing, a solid, I guess, transfer in the sense that he's now going to be playing in Holland's position. So I think that they're set for their striker, and I think it was a very good, very, very good transfer for Dortmund.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Very good transfer. Dortmund's making a big splash in the market this summer. And yeah, Haller, very, very quality player up top. Pretty underrated, honestly. Like you said, was very good in the Champions League for Ajax last season. Scores a lot of goals. Obviously, he's no Erling Haaland, but, he can come in and, produce.
He'll make an impact.
Exactly. Produce, make an impact, score goals. And yeah, I think Dortmund is looking really good right now with the players they're signing. So very impressive. All right. Next transfer here. This one is specifically for you, Simone, as a Chelsea fan yourself.
Oh boy.
We've got Andreas Christensen from Chelsea to FC Barcelona on a free transfer.
Oh no.
So what are we thinking about that one as a Chelsea fan?
So, the thing is, this guy is a very good player. I was never the biggest fan of him, but I still
Okay.
could recognize how solid he was as a defender. He's a very underrated defender. He played really well for Denmark in the Euros, and
Yes,
he
sir,
plays
my Denmark
very
boy.
solid. He's a very solid player on Chelsea as well. It's just that he wasn't getting enough playing time, and the reason that was because we had amazing defenders before him. And especially with Rudiger and Thiago Silva and Cesar Azpilicueta, there's not much room for him to fit in there. But the thing is now, the fact that Chelsea lost him as a free transfer, they're kind of screwed because we also lost Rudiger. Thiago Silva's he's like 35 or something. 30. He's old now, so like
37,
our
I
defense is in trouble.
Yeah.
Because Christensen was the next thing. He's only 26. He could have
I
been
know.
our new defender, our new star defender, but he decided to leave, and I think he deserved it because I feel like Chelsea wasn't focusing on him enough, and now our future defender is gone
Yeah, I agree. You
again.
you guys definitely.
Yeah, I just wanted to add Barcelona
go
made
ahead.
some big moves. They made big
they
moves,
have.
but Chelsea lost out. They lost out hard.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I agree with that statement where you said Chelsea just wasn't really focusing on him. I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys sent him out on loan like 2 or 3 times
Yep.
to Borussia Mönchengladbach. And yeah, I think he just wanted something new. Like you said, he's 26. I think the Spanish style of play could suit him really well. He's versatile. He'll add depth for that Barcelona back line, especially with a free transfer. But yeah, definitely a bit of a loss there for you guys, honestly. And
It's hard.
Barcelona are definitely, just like Dortmund, are going hard in the transfer market this summer.
2 free amazing transfers. Like, that's just insane.
Yeah.
Wild.
All right. We've got 3 players left here to talk about. So, next one, which is a very interesting move, and I kind of like it, though. Steve Bergwijn from Tottenham to Ajax for about $34 million. What are you thinking about the Dutch international?
I think this guy is, he's super young.
Yeah.
I think he's 24 or something. And sorry, where did you say that he went to? He went from Tottenham to
To Ajax, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Again, it's funny because every team that's losing like an important player, they're easily, like, not easily, but they're filling their places. Like Ajax just lost Sebastian Haller to Dortmund, and now they have a new replacement already.
Yeah.
And not that this kid is still super young, so he's not at the same level as Haller, but he has so much potential to grow, and he's he's super young, and he's a great player, and he's only gonna do better, especially at Ajax. I think it'll be probably a little easier than the Premier League, so I think he might really shine there.
Yeah, I agree. I think Steve Bergwijn here, I think he was getting phased out of Tottenham a little bit. Especially with Tottenham bringing in Richarlison, because he normally plays on the right wing, and there just really wasn't room for him. So I think it was time for a change. I think he'll be a starter at Ajax. He should be able to be. And I think this will be good for him on an international level because he'll get consistent playing time, because he is a starter for the Netherlands, and he's a quality player for them. So the Dutch are going to love this move because they're going to love to see him consistently playing first team football. So I think it's a good move for both parties once again, and especially for the Netherlands and the player himself. Yeah. All right, on to the next transfer here. Got a little bit of USA here, USA player.
Oh,
we got Tyler Adams.
Oh yeah,
going from RB Leipzig to Leeds United on an $18 million transfer. What are we thinking here, Simone?
Sounds good.
It's these young guys are just, especially from the U.S., are just getting sent everywhere. He's 23, and he's going to play for Leeds, and he's more than likely to get that starting position because who did you say earlier just left Leeds?
Calvin Phillips, yeah. Calvin Phillips.
So I know they play in different positions, but he came in for a reason.
I think they actually play the same position. I think they both play that holding midfield.
I thought Calvin Phillips. Oh, is he he is a midfielder.
Yeah,
You're right.
I think they both play the striker
for a second.
No, he's.
You're right. Yeah,
I think they both.
I apologize.
Play that
You're
center
completely
defensive mid role. Yeah,
you're right. Then
Leeds is
like I said earlier, though, like a team loses a player and then they just fill a spot back up again with a youngster, and this guy is 23. He's from the U.S., so he's just gonna learn at Leeds. He's just gonna play against some of the best players in the in the world and in the Premier League. And I know he's not in the Champions League or any of those super big tournaments, but Leeds is in the Prem, and that's a very it's gonna be consistent game time for him, and he's just gonna improve, just like we said about the previous transfer. And I think it's really good for the U.S. because we're getting our players all around the world now. Yeah. So it's just, our squad is going to improve, and we're probably going to, become a force to be reckoned with in a few years.
2026, here we come.
Yeah, I agree. And, Tyler Adams, just like Brendan Aronson went to Leeds United as well. So 2 USA teammates on the same team. That'll be great. And it's funny with Tyler Adams because Jesse Marsch is the coach of Leeds now. And Jesse Marsch was the coach of the New York Red Bulls. And then at RB Leipzig, and that's exactly the route that Tyler Adams went. He went New York Red Bulls, Leipzig, and now he's on Leeds. So he literally knows hilarious. This coach in and out, Jesse Marsch. Right. It's a great pairing. Obviously, he's no Calvin Phillips, but he's a solid player, and he holds down that midfield for the U.S. really well. So I think he can fit in well here with Leeds. And he's just a different type of player. Really puts in a good shift in that defensive midfielder role, and I think he should settle in well to Leeds. So very excited for that one.
Yes, sir.
All right, we got the last transfer, and
Sweet.
it's a pretty big one here. Last transfer news of the day. We've got Angel Di Maria going from PSG to Juventus on a free transfer.
Ooh.
What are we thinking here?
I was waiting for this one. I was going to be surprised if you didn't mention it. I think this is one of the biggest ones to date. Di Maria is a great player, and I kind of felt bad for him when Messi went to PSG because you know you could kind of see his position slowly leaving him because no one is gonna start Di Maria over Lionel Messi. As much as I like seeing them play together because they're both Argentinian, he wasn't getting his fair share, his game time that he deserves because this guy is a world-class player. He's the one that scored the winning goal for them in the Copa America. This guy is pure class. He's always been class. He's agile, he's fast, he can do, he can shoot from anywhere. Like this guy, he's an amazing player, and he's a little bit older now, but I think he's still going to do great at Juventus, and he always gives it his all. So he's a phenomenal player, and I hope he does well in the squad, and I think he will. I think he'll fit in very well the Juventus team.
Yeah, it's always tough for a team to lose a world-class player on a free transfer like PSG did. But I think he put in a really good shift for PSG. He's 34 years old, so he's starting to get up there, but he's still world-class. And I think he's going to help provide Juventus with just a touch of quality on that right-hand side. And Juventus in the past have been pretty good when bringing in older players. So they're pretty good at that. So I think Di Maria will fit in really well there. And as long as Chiesa is out with that knee injury, I think he'll be getting that starting role and will fill in nicely as a good role player for them. So I like the transfer for Juventus a lot. Good move.
Alrighty. Good stuff. So that's going to do it for transfers for this week, ladies and gentlemen. Now we can get to your main event. But man, Seth and Simone, especially Seth over here, they're talking about how they've had quite a tough time putting this list together because we're talking about all-time soccer players from the sport's inception pretty much, or to when leagues started happening, or from World Cup era onwards, all the way to present day. So to limit the space to 25 players, you got your starting 11, then you got 9 reserves and 9 bench players and 5 reserves. I think Seth and Simone, they were a little bit upset that they couldn't talk about some certain other players. So real quick, like literally just name after name, they're going to name off a few of the players that they just couldn't put on the list, but that they didn't want to leave mentionless. So Seth, why don't you go first on that?
Yeah, so got quite a few players here, and it makes me a little sad not to be able to add them in the team here, but they were so close. Like these guys could have been very easily interchanged with people on my bench or reserves very easily. So no, I'm not taking anything away from these players. So the
fact that they've made it here is
these are the best. These are the best of the best here. Like don't get it twisted that these are bad players whatsoever. And I may butcher a couple names. I should know these, but let me give you guys some names here. So for attackers, I've got Ferenc Puskás for Hungary. I've got Marco van Basten for the Netherlands. And I've got George Best, Northern Ireland. Those are my attackers there. Midfielders, I've got Roberto Baggio from Italy.
Okay.
I've got Ruud Gullit, who people should know if they've played FIFA. Absolute beast. Ruud Gullit, and I might butcher this one, but Frank Rijkaard. I might have butchered the last name. I know him. I've just always struggled with his last name, but he's a phenomenal player. Both of them are Dutch internationals, by the way. Ruud and Frank. The Manchester United legend himself, Bobby Charlton, absolute legend, one of the best players in Man United history. And the midfield maestro himself, Andrea Pirlo. And then 4 defenders. I've got 3 defenders here. I put 2 of them together because I'm kind of at 10 now, but I wanted to add a left back and right back just to make it all look nice. So, but my 1 center back here, Carles Puyol, absolute Barca and Spain legend, really good player. And then for my left back, right back here, in my honorable mentions, I had to add Marcelo, absolute Real Madrid legend, Brazil legend at that left back spot. And then somebody in his time that has pretty much done the same thing, but on the other side, Philipp Lahm, right back for Bayern Munich and for Germany's national team. 2 absolute legends in their position during our time growing up. So these are my honorable mentions, and yeah.
Sounds good. A lot of legit players here. Now, Simone, interested to hear your players that didn't quite make your reserves bench or starting 11 all-time list.
Yeah, so I had a feeling Seth was gonna take a kind of oldie approach. So because of that, I decided to take a newer approach.
Oh, okay.
And so I focused on players that, that played recently, like within the last 10 to 20 years, probably, so a lot of them are actually all of them are most of them are retired now, but they've played in our time growing up, which is why I mentioned them.
Right.
So, all right, to start off, I have Luis Suarez, one of the best strikers of our generation.
Very solid.
You can't talk, you can't have this list without him in it. And that's why he's in the honorable mentions, because he's a great player. Definitely top, 5 strikers of this generation. On that topic, I am also thinking of Robert Lewandowski, another amazing player. He plays, he literally just scores goal after goal.
It's the whole reason Poland's in this World Cup.
I also have Neymar Jr. Everyone thought he was going to be the best player in the world when he was younger, and if he had the work ethic of Ronaldo, he would have been. He's extremely talented, and he's still an amazing player. It's just a little bit of wasted potential, in my opinion. But hey, he still deserves to be on here. We have Arjen Robben from the Netherlands. He was an amazing player in the World Cup and for Bayern. This guy just runs, he makes a little cut and then blasts it, and it curves right into the goal. There's nothing you can do to stop it. He has pinpoint accuracy. Next, probably one of the best primes that I've ever seen in my life, we have Eden Hazard. This guy was amazing at Chelsea, and it just went downhill at Real Madrid, but no one could stop him. Not even the entire Liverpool team could stop him back in his day. He would run through them all like it was nothing. And he's just an amazing player. I'm getting close, don't worry, I'm almost done. I'm going to speed through a few of these, but we have Diego Forlan, an amazing Uruguayan player. He's right up there with Suarez.
Right.
I grew up watching him. He scores crazy free kicks, and, this guy can shoot from anywhere. You have Samuel Eto'o, who is a speed god, and this
Good
guy was
pick.
just insane. Reminds you of Thierry Henry a little bit. We have Wayne Rooney, who could score, from just about anywhere. We have Luka Modric, Kaká, Toni Kroos, all midfield legends. Literally, these guys are still playing, or 2 of them are still playing, and they're still absolute class.
Right.
And then finally, I'm going to end it off with Carles Puyol, like Seth mentioned earlier, one of the best defenders I've seen in my lifetime. And Manuel Neuer, who is another one of the best goalkeepers that I've ever seen in this generation.
Hey.
Yeah, if I had to pick a goalkeeper to be in the honorable mentions, Manuel Neuer 100% would have made
For
it
sure.
in there
So-
as the goalkeeper honorable mention.
So there you guys go. That's
So-
just a taste. These are the players that didn't make their list. So if you thought those were legends, then just wait until we get to the list. But we're gonna go right into the towards the bottom of the list and go make our way up. So we're gonna start off with the reserves. These are the players that won't really see playing time unless they're absolutely needed. But they're there to to fill out the team roster. And then once we get through the reserves, we'll get to the bench. Again, not starter players, but substitute possibilities. And then we'll make our way to the official starting 11. But let's start with each of your guys' 5 reserves. And again, it doesn't have to be as quick, but I'd say 2 to 3 minutes per player. I think it seems reasonable. And you guys got 5, so I'm gonna switch things up. Simone, let's start with your first reserve guy, and then we'll go to Seth, and we'll keep flipping.
All right. Well, Seth already mentioned this player actually in his honorable mentions, and as my first reserve on defense, I have Marcelo Vieira.
Oh,
He's still playing right now, but he's definitely retiring soon. And this guy is just amazing. He was Ronaldo's best friend when they were playing together.
Yeah.
And he was a left back, but he could play any position. You could play him anywhere, and he would know exactly what to do. His positioning is phenomenal. His control. I would just watch highlights of his control because it was beautiful. And he's the definition of a Brazilian player. He can do anything. He can defend.
Yes.
He can shoot. He can dribble. He's fast, and his prime was different. He was, that's why he's part of the reason why they won those 3 Champions Leagues in a row. And I know that there's some really good defenders out there, but they're also on my list. But he had to be in here. I just couldn't make this list without Marcelo in it.
right. Sweet, Seth. Do you have anything else?
Yeah, no. That's
okay.
it. Sorry.
Seth, your first reserve, my guy.
Yeah, so I'll start with defense as well. Also, a Real Madrid legend.
Boy, Real Madrid's got them all.
They really do.
Oh, wow.
And he's actually my only defender in the reserves. Big fan of him and just really love this guy. Sergio Ramos.
Oh,
Love Sergio Ramos here in the reserves. I mean, this is a guy I want to bring up from the reserves if I need that a spark of energy, or I need just some aggression, or just some really good center backing play. This is somebody I would love to have in my reserves for the all-time team. I mean, this is a guy who's won a World Cup with Spain in 2010. I mean, he's won 4 Champions Leagues with Real Madrid. He's won 2 Euros. I mean, he has so many other accolades, but it would, just like most of the players, it would take all night just to read all their accolades. But like this player is just regarded as one of the best center backs in history. He's still playing. He's getting a little bit older now. He's getting more injury prone, not really the same level as he was on Real Madrid. I don't think he'll ever get back to that level. But man, that time from 2005 to 2018 was just some of the most beautiful center back play I've ever watched. And because of that,
For
Ramos 100% deserves to be in the reserves of my all-time 11.
love to hear it. Now, Simone, back to you. Interested to hear about your second player in your reserves. Who do you got, my guy?
Again, this guy, a lot of people don't think he should be even on this list, but the thing is, in my mind, he is criminally underrated and is one of the best midfielders I've ever seen play, and that is Mesut Ozil.
Wow.
This guy,
Okay.
yeah. I know he's not a lot of people wouldn't put him in their list, but I had to, because this guy his playmaking is insane. He might not have been the most, scored the most goals or had the most successful dribbles, but he had vision like no other. He had a 360, view, because he could pass to players that he didn't even look at.
Right.
I've seen all of his highlights of his best plays, and it's just mind blowing how a player can, have that sense of awareness. The only player I've ever seen that has something even similar to that is Lionel Messi. And yeah, I mean, he had to be on here. Even if it was in the reserves, he had to be on this list for me.
Yeah, makes sense. So Seth had a pretty interesting reaction to that one, but well, let's get to your second player, Seth. See who's on your reserves as well.
Yeah, so it really hurts to put this player in the reserves because he is regarded as easily a top 5 midfielder of all time. But just because of the way my team is constructed and just because of how many legends are in this team, he has to be in the reserves. But
Oh boy.
it's Andres Iniesta. Iniesta in the reserves
There
here.
is no way He's in your reserves. Yo, get
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Nah. Yo, hang up your headphones and you can leave right now. That's ridiculous.
Oh,
What is
boy.
this?
It hurts me.
We've got a war brewing right
But-
now.
Iniesta is in the reserves here. I mean, he is a world-class midfielder. He was just amazing for both Spain and Barcelona. I mean, this is a guy who just revolutionized what it was like to play the midfield position. I mean, he was part of one of the best midfield trios of all time. I mean, he was named to the FIFA Pro World 11 9 times, was chosen in the UEFA Team of the Year on 6 different occasions. I mean, he has so many accolades. He won UEFA Best Player in Europe Award in 2012. Like, he's got a lot of accolades. He's won La Liga, and he's plenty of times with Barcelona, was part of that 2010 World Cup squad. I mean, this is a player that really...
He scored the winning goal.
He did. I mean, this is a world-class player, but just because of the way my team is constructed, and I'm telling you, Simone, I promise you, it's going to make sense once you hear the rest of my team. But
It's gonna be hard.
it's gonna be hard, but you'll understand. You will understand, and it really pained me to do it, but he is a class of a player.
Boy.
But Iniesta is in the reserves, and I would bring this guy up so quickly if somebody in my 11 or bench got injured or whatnot, but he has to be in the reserves for now.
Oh boy, we're already having
I cannot
disputes
believe-
starting now.
I cannot
Simone.
believe you disrespected Andres Iniesta like that.
I don't mean
Oh,
to. I
my.
really don't mean to.
Oh, Simone, you're number 3 before this gets out of hand.
Yeah, I just need to take a second.
Simone needs a breather after. He needs to get up and walk around.
Oh man.
Stretch some
Yeah,
legs.
Seth his hands on sight next time I'm up there.
Oh no.
Sorry, man. I had to. I had to.
Oh
It's
boy.
alright. Hopefully, we'll see if you can make up for it. Anyways,
think I
alright,
will,
In my
Well, Simone, you gotta make it up for him. So
yeah. Well, okay. This one actually pains me a lot to say too, so I kind of see where he's coming from.
Thank you.
As my third
let me hear it.
reserve, I have Ronaldinho Gaucho.
Ooh. Yeah. See, that one pains me. Wow.
Yeah.
Dino in the reserves.
Oh,
And this boy's
look,
talking about
look.
Iniesta in the reserve. He got Dino. Oh my
wow,
lord.
already.
This is getting spicy. Oh man.
Yo,
I gotta
let
hear
me-
this
let me
reasoning.
explain.
This is one
Let
where we
me
needed
explain.
Simone in person for this one.
I gotta hear this. I don't believe
Alright,
this. I don't
listen.
believe that he didn't at least get a bench spot. I gotta hear it.
Look, I think that, Ronaldinho, like you said about Iniesta, he will easily move up if need be. The thing is, he is too good not to be in this list, but compared to what I have as my subs and my, my top 11, he just didn't fit in.
Okay.
And the thing is, he's an amazing player. He can play on the wing, he can play center mid. He can dribble. He has all his fancy little tricks, and this guy, he was my favorite player growing up. He was just completely different. Everyone was scared of him because this guy, he had every skill move, possibly thought of mastered. And I love him, and I think he's great. The thing is, I couldn't see putting him any higher because the other players, in my opinion, they're more team players, and they're just they might not be able to do the same tricks as him or the same moves, but the thing is, Ronaldinho, in that sense, is a little overrated. In my opinion, I think not to get me wrong, he's an amazing player. I just think that it's not just about skill moves and dribbling, and he's amazing at that, probably one of the best. But that's not what it's all about. And in my midfield, that's not what it's about. And so he deserves a spot on this list, but that's where it's gonna be.
This is wild. So Seth, let's introduce your third player.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna continue the pain here.
Oh boy.
Because
That's great.
obviously I made it painful when I said Iniesta. He made it painful when he said Dino. But
Here we go.
So I've got Ramos as my defender. I've got Iniesta at the midfield. I got one more midfielder in the reserves. And when you have Iniesta, you gotta have Xavi. So
You're ridiculous. You're ridiculous.
So Xavi is also in the reserves here. I mean, like they're literally
What is wrong with you?
Simone's talking like Spain's 2010 World Cup team is just completely in the reserves and he can't stand it.
Listen. It's,
Yo.
it's just because Xavi and Iniesta, they would work in my all-time starting 11. Like they would work, but it would eliminate some really quality players, like absolute football legends. And trust me, you'll understand when I get there. But yeah, come on, man. If I said Iniesta, you know I had to say Xavi. They're literally the same person, for crying out loud. Like these guys
I mean,
are literally
man.
they invented the tiki taka. Like literally Iniesta's the tiki and Xavi is the taka. Like that's literally what it is.
Oh my. That's
I mean-
one way to describe it.
No, like these guys, they're probably the best like midfield duo together when they play together of like all time. And like I said, they would come up so quickly on my bench or into my starting
I
lineup.
did say that about everybody so far.
I did. That's how good these players are. I'm telling you, it's how good they are. I mean, this is a guy who's won La Liga multiple times, won multiple Copa del Rey, Super Copas, just like Iniesta. Won the World Cup in 2010. I mean, won a couple of Euros just with Iniesta. He was just part of the dominant tiki-taka time of Barcelona, that 2012 era, 2010 to 2012 era. You could even say 2008 to 2012. And part of that really dominant Spain era too. But Xavi, definitely a world-class midfielder, one of the best. And like I said, he would be called up in any given moment, but he just doesn't fit what I'm going for in my
you're
lineup.
ridiculous.
Just
Okay.
doesn't fit it, and it mostly has to be because of like, I mean, he sometimes would play center defensive mid, like a more central mid, like to drop in a little more, but it just doesn't fit my system. And let me tell you, I just want to make it clear to everyone
Oh, boy.
at home. This is not a list here of like the all-time like best players, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Like this is a team. Like I'm pretending here to be a manager and selecting a team here. This isn't who I think
Then you
is
failed.
the best or whatnot. So I mean, obviously some of it, coincides with that, but I just want to make that clear. So before everybody gets on me for this, just please stay until the end of the video. You will understand where I'm going with this from a manager's point of view.
Yeah, with
Thank you.
all this spice, you're gonna want to stay to the end of the video. Simone, please keep this train going. You better have someone controversial as your fourth pick in the reserves.
I'm actually worried about this one because I feel like not a lot of people know of this player.
let's
I
hear
mean, I shouldn't say that, but he's very well known actually. First of all, I can't believe he disrespected the two Spaniard legends like that. That's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone flame
Sorry,
him in
man.
the comment section, please. Like, get this guy. How do you have them in your reserves? Anyways, my fourth one is my first forward, and that is Mane Garrincha. He is a Brazilian forward. And I'm not sure if you've heard of him, but his actual name is Manuel, but he got the nickname of Mane Garrincha. And this guy, oh my gosh, he's one of the best dribblers I've ever seen. And it's just, it just describes Brazilian football. To me, this guy could literally float around any player. There's highlights of him taking on 3 guys and then just leaving them all in the dust. You have to look up his highlights because he's an old player. He played
I was probably one of those 3 guys.
I think he played around the 50s or 60s when he played, but he was ridiculous. And oh my gosh, I haven't seen a dribbler like him since.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. But yeah, that sounds good. That is number 4 for Simone's pick. We got the Brazilian, and Seth, you're number 4.
Yeah, so done with midfielders.
Okay.
You can't. Obviously, Xavi and Iniesta, absolute gods. So we're on to the my two forwards, my two attackers here. This is somebody most people should have heard of. He's an absolute legend, a goal-scoring machine, and he is probably, honestly, I could probably say definitely regarded as the second best Portuguese player of all time behind Cristiano Ronaldo. And this is Eusebio. This is Eusebio here. I mean, this man was literally nicknamed the Black Panther. He, in his professional career, he scored 733 goals in 745 matches.
That is consistent.
He is known, he is known as a Benfica legend. He is like literally Benfica's biggest legend of all time. He scored 473 goals in 440 games for Benfica.
Damn.
So he scored more goals than he played games for Benfica. He helped Portugal, like I said, Portuguese legend, helped Portugal reach third place in the 1966 World Cup. He was the top goal scorer of that tournament with 9 goals. He's a Ballon d'Or winner, won it in 1965, and he was a runner-up in 62 and 66. He won 11 Primera Liga titles. Unbelievable. Like, that's just unbelievable. He's won so many he has so many other accolades. Like I said, I could just go all day with it. But you guys get the point. He's a goal-scoring machine. He's nicknamed the Black Panther for a reason. I mean, his speed, his technique, and his athleticism, it just all makes him a really scary, like, goal scorer. And he just reminds me a lot of Mbappe, like Mbappe now. Like, he's that kind of player. And he's somebody that I would be more than happy to bring from the reserves up into the lineup to help me score some goals. So Eusebio had to be in this team. Absolute legend.
Makes sense to me. Yeah. Very quality player. Absolute Portuguese legend from the 60s. Simone, your last pick for the reserves. All right. End it off with a bang, my guy. Who do you got as your 5th reserve on your all-time 11 team?
I just can't believe Seth disrespected Eusebio.
Oh my.
Oh no,
Bro, you're
rivalry.
you're scaring me now because these players, I mean, yes, they're great, but they're not as great as the players I'm about to say. And if you don't have some of these players,
Dude,
you're done.
no.
I don't think I can talk to you again, dude.
I can't
Oh,
believe how disrespectful you are to these players.
Nah, you're definitely
yo.
missing some big names, and I'm about to call. Nah.
Oh
You're
boy, guys, this is gonna
ridic-
be
Nah.
this is gonna be the spiciest episode yet. Yo, Simone, you gotta give your 5th player now before this goes off the rails.
Can I just say?
Oh my god,
Can
you're
I
too
just
slow.
say that I don't. It is not a disrespect, by the way. Eusebio being in the reserves, you need to remember that.
There's 25 players.
There's 25 players. That means he's top 25 all time. I don't think this is a disrespect, sir. This is a great honor. So I'm gonna need you to calm down.
I gotta check the
at
level, see if he's
least.
peeking the mic. Like,
I
holy.
think I think he at least deserved top 20. I don't know about 25, but
Oh
but,
my
all right.
God! All right, let's go. Let's hear it. Let's
Oh my.
let's hear this.
For my
might
last
just fly someone up
reserve
here right
as
now.
a forward, I have Marco van Basten, who Seth mentioned in his honorable mentions, which was also ridiculous. This guy,
Oh my God! Oh my God!
This is brilliant.
dude, Van Basten, the Dutch legend. This guy is an insane player. This guy just scored and scored and scored, and he was like a sharpshooter. He would always find the top corner somehow, no matter where he was. And I just don't know how you can't have him there. If you have a guy that can shoot from any distance and hit the exact same spot every single time, he has to be in your list. And the fact that he wasn't even in your top 25 is insane to me.
That sounds like
Listen,
Simone
man.
with the in the between
the
and
reason
the
he
crossbar
wasn't
challenges.
the reason he wasn't in my top 25 is, trust me, he was an absolute god of a scorer. He averaged 0.99 goals per game. That's literally almost like goal a game. Absolute legend. But he was only in the honorable mentions because I'm not sure if you knew this, but he had to retire at the age of 27 because of how many injuries he picked up. And I
do
think if
remember
his
that, yes.
career lasted another like 8 years, he could have been one of the best all time. But because his career was cut short and we couldn't truly, I mean, we saw some really good potential and he was really, really good. But I think there was more there. But sadly, because his career got cut short, I just couldn't add him in the team. But he is. I'm not taking anything away. I think that's a great pick for you in your reserve. In your reserves.
Yep.
But he just had to be in the honorable mentions for me. I'm sorry.
All right.
All right.
All right.
I respect that.
But
no, I can
yours.
respect that.
But I respect yours.
Yeah, no, I think what we saw is just enough to put him in there, but I can see what you're saying now with his career being cut short. That does make sense. Okay.
Oh my.
Okay.
All right, you made up for
All right,
one.
so
You made up for
We're
one.
on the
Last
same
reserve.
page for one. All right.
For once. That won't
right.
last long. Yes, that's about announces number 5. It's gonna go downhill real quick.
All right, so another attacker to go with Eusebio. I'm sure Simone's gonna hate this take, but hey, man, this
This is the nature of the episode so far.
honestly, I'm gonna be honest. It was really close. You know how I mentioned Puskás, the Hungarian beast, in my honorable mentions?
Yep.
It was
Absolutely.
It was between him, Eusebio, and this third player for who would get the 2 spots, but.
Okay.
Just because of this guy's legendary status, I had to add him in there, and he is just such a good goal scorer, and in the big moments too. We're talking about Gerard Muller. Gerard Muller here.
Okay.
So, I mean, this guy was an absolute legend for.
We're gonna hear that 25 times today.
You are. I mean, they're all legends. Like, what can you say? Like, they're all legends. And this guy, he played for West Germany. Actually, that's how long ago it was. Played for West Germany here. And he did play for Bayern Munich, but for West Germany at the international level, 68 goals in 62 appearances.
Not bad.
And he had, in his 15 years with Bayern Munich, 365 goals in 427 Bundesliga matches. And he is still the record holder of that league in the Bundesliga. It's just unbelievable. And also in European club games, I think he scored 74 goals in 65 goals in 74 games. So pretty solid. Like this guy's a goal scorer. He had one of the highest ratios of goals per game in the European Cup. 0.97 with 34 goals in 35 matches. Like this is like he is a goal scorer. This is a pure. He's like Eusebio, but this is a really good goal scorer. I mean, this guy, he scored. I think he scored 10 goals at the 1970 FIFA World Cup, where he received the Golden Boot as the top scorer. He won the Euros in 72, was the top goal scorer there. Like he's just a top goal scorer. Like that's what he is. He scored 4 goals in the 1974 World Cup, including the winning goal in the final. So we got a World Cup winner here. And he held the all-time goal scoring record in the World Cup with 14 goals for 32 years. That record lasted for so long. So what I'm trying to say here is this guy.
That's a whole generation of players.
That's what I'm saying. Like this guy just knows how to score goals. He did it at a top level as well, which is why I think I put him over Puskás, is because he did it in a top league and a top level like the Bundesliga.
Right.
And well, Puskás, you know, he did as well, but I think it was a little bit different from Muller here. Like this guy is just an absolute pure goal scorer. Somebody that I would love to bring from the reserves if I need a goal. He's there. And yeah, I just think this guy, I mean, he has so many honors too. Like multiple Bundesligas and DFB Pokals that he's won. And I also forgot to mention, actually, he did win a Ballon d'Or in 1970 as well. So he's a Ballon d'Or winner. And he was Footballer of the Year in Germany in 67 and 69. So a bunch of accolades there. Just wanted to, people that aren't familiar with him, just wanted to show you, like, this guy is a legend, and he's a true goal scorer, and a lot of his records still hold today. I don't know if you guys remember, just one last thing. This guy, I think Lewandowski broke his single season goal scoring record in the Bundesliga just last season with like 41 goals. Mueller had 40. And that record was like, I don't even want to know how many years that standed. But yeah, so Gerard Mueller is the fifth attacker in the reserves due to the fact that he is just one of the best goal scorers of all time.
Well,
Legend.
that is very good to hear. It's also good to hear that Seth, if he was the manager, would bring up everybody in his reserves.
Everyone's coming up. They're all coming up.
Okay, so it seems like we got out of the reserves relatively unscathed. There were a few fires lit, but I'm a little bit nervous for
I'm a little nervous too.
For our bench areas. We're going to hear some players that we've already heard before, but let's just get straight to it. So we have 9 players on the bench. We're going Premier League format, and the following rules apply where your bench is required to have at least 2 attackers, 2 midfielders, 2 defenders, and 1 goalkeeper at the minimum. And then the other positions can be filled with what you need. Other 2 positions at that point. But yeah, so that fills out the 9 bench players, and once we get through those talks, it's to the main event, the all-time 11, who's going to make their starting squad. So you definitely don't want to miss that. But let's go and see if these guys have any fist fights over the phone when it comes to these bench players. I kind of like this format, so we're going to keep starting with you, Simone. Who is your first bench player that you want to talk about?
All right. This might upset Seth.
Oh, no. Right off the
first
bat.
player is Cristiano Ronaldo.
Wow.
No, I'm just kidding. I
was about to just end your whole career in like 2 seconds. Oh my. Don't you ever say that again. I don't want to hear Cristiano Ronaldo and bench in the same sentence ever again. It's just not possible. It doesn't happen.
All right, okay. In all reality, though, in all realness, to start off with my goalkeeper, I have Iker Casillas. Absolute Spanish legend. Like Seth was mentioning about all the other players he had in his reserves, this guy was there for it all. He played for Real Madrid. He played for the World Cup winning team in 2010. Mm-hmm. One of the best goalkeepers I've ever seen play. This guy was saving ridiculous shots that you would expect to go in with an ordinary keeper. But this guy, he wasn't even like extremely tall like their current keeper Courtois. Like this guy was like regular size, and he was saving these insane shots that even tall goalkeepers couldn't even save.
Right.
One of the best primes I've seen in football with, going for goalkeepers at least. And yeah, he was a fantastic player, and I feel bad he got disrespected so hard or mistreated from Real Madrid when he retired. But this guy was something else. You would feel comfortable that you would know if you have him in goal, you're not conceding, or at least 1 or 2 if the defense is poor, because it's not going to be his fault.
No, makes sense.
Fair.
And I like that you started with goalkeeper, Simone. So that was decent. Cool. Seth, your first pick that you want to bring up talk about from the bench.
Yeah, so I'll go with my goalkeeper, of course. So my bench goalkeeper, I've got Gigi Buffon as my bench keeper. I mean, he is one of the best and greatest goalkeepers of all time. I mean, this is a guy we're talking about that has made over 1,100 professional career appearances. I mean, he literally began his career in 1995, and he is still playing somehow. He's still going. I just don't even understand this man.
That is wild.
Yeah, and I mean he's made 176 international caps with Italy. He had a historic World Cup in 2006 when Italy won it all. Absolute great player. Um, and I think he was like runner up in uh, one of the Ballon d'Ors around that time as well. I could be wrong about that, but I mean, this is a player that's been through it all. He's regarded as one of the best. He just has always been so clutch. Has made great saves, and just he's been consistent. That's why he's up here. He has been very consistent for so long, which is really hard to do. Um, and he just has so many accolades, and he's won so much with so many different teams. He has so many individual awards. That's what's really impressive. I mean, this guy's won world's best goalkeeper like 5 times. He's been part of multiple UEFA Team of the Years. He's won like over 10 Serie A Goalkeeper of the Year awards. Um, like he's been part of world teams and decade teams and 21st century team. Like he's been through it all. What a great keeper Gigi Buffon is, and he 100% deserves to make the bench role as the bench keeper. Yeah, Gigi Buffon here.
Yeah, for the all-time 11.
For the all-time 11, exactly.
Let's get it. So, Simone, not bad picks by either of you, but let's keep the ball rolling. Who is your second pick for your bench?
Yeah, Seth got lucky that I like Buffon because, man, if you picked any other goalie, phew. Yeah, I struggled too. I wanted to either put Casillas or Buffon, and I think Buffon, that was a great choice from you. I think he deserves it. This guy, he's insane, and he's still playing, and it's just ridiculous how good he still is, even at his age. All right, for my next player, my first defender, I have Ashley Cole.
Alrighty.
I'm the English Ashley Cole, who is actually around the same age as Buffon right now. He's 41. And this guy, he played for Chelsea and Arsenal, and man, what a defender he was. He could do, like, just kind of like Marcelo on steroids in a sense. He could do just about the same thing. Maybe not all the skill moves and, like, you know, all the things that Marcelo, like that beautiful control that Marcelo has, but he can defend and he can attack, and he was a tough defender, and he could pocket some of the best players during his time. I loved watching him play. I had to watch a lot of his highlights recently because, you know, he retired before I really knew I had a consciousness, but you know, this guy, in his highlights, you can just watch him. You can just see that he can do anything, and you can play him anywhere. And because of that, he deserves to be on this list for me. And yeah, one of the best defenders of all time, in my opinion.
Very, very solid pick by Simone. Seth, how are you going to rebound off of that one?
Yeah, so I've got my first defender, who's actually a left back here.
Okay.
Regarded as easily top 3 of all time in his position here. I am going Roberto Carlos on the bench here for Brazil.
Here we go.
I mean, this player is just, he was amazing. He was a different kind of left back. I mean, most people would describe this guy as a very offensive-minded left back. He loved to just go up on offense, and he's also just one of the best free kick takers, a left back. You wouldn't think that, but he was a free kick specialist. Everybody knows him for his famous bending shots. Oh, just beautiful to see. And he really is just an absolute legend at left back. I mean, he played for Real Madrid and Inter. He had a decade plus of highly successful seasons. He scored quite a bit. I think scored about, like 70 goals, 71 goals in his career. So not bad for a left back. Won a few La Liga titles at Real Madrid. Just like Buffon, has made over 1,100 professional career appearances. He's just one of the best at his position, and you can't deny his skill, his talent, and just his ability to bring a new kind of play at that left back spot, both at club level, and he was absolutely brilliant for Brazil. He was so keen for them in their 2002 World Cup win. So what an absolute all-star legend. Always going to say legend for all these players, but
Fair enough.
yeah, definitely deserves a bench spot in the all-time 11.
All right.
Seth, if you like these attack-minded defenders, then I recommend you look up the Ashley Cole highlights, because I swear, like, it's gonna leave you. It's gonna be
Brother,
orgasmic to watch for you.
I know about Ashley Cole. I mean, he's a
And
great defender.
and let me
but
just reiterate: you need to look at it. You need to just watch his highlights. Just please, after this podcast, just take a look at them for me, and we'll get back to a next podcast. All right? Because I feel like you need to refresh your memory just a little bit.
Oh man.
Brother, I understand what how good Ashley Cole is, but we're talking about Roberto Carlos here. I mean,
Oh no, I'm not disagreeing about the Roberto Carlos thing. I'm just saying you should just take a look at Ashley Cole for me.
okay, all right, I
Yeah.
will take a look, but
Mhm.
I'm telling you, he is not better than Roberto Carlos or the left back that is in my World 11. So I'm just
We'll
letting you
see.
know. Letting you know
We'll
that
see
right
about
now.
Well, Simone,
We'll see.
who's your third player? Simone's third player on the bench.
All right, my third player is the one that Seth disrespected already. We have as my second defender Sergio Ramos, the Spanish legend, as Seth said earlier. This
The
guy has done it
Spanish
all. He's still
legend.
playing. He isn't getting as much playing time, but his prime lasted quite a few years, and he won some big trophies on Spain and Real Madrid. And he was an amazing defender, and he has passion. A lot of passion, a little too much passion actually, because he would get quite a few red cards. He was notoriously
Quite a
known for
few.
that, but yeah, he's a great player. He's very passionate, and he knows what he's doing. When he would get those red cards, you knew he was doing it on purpose, because he was purposely trying to hurt those players. Like, this guy is just aggressive, and he's the kind of player you want as a defender, as your captain. He can lead your team, and he deserves to be at least in the subs for me, if not higher.
There we go. Love to hear it. Now, Seth,
I like that.
how are you going to respond to that one with your third pick?
Yeah, so this is a defender that is just highly ignored. He is a center back here, and he is, I will say, my last defender. I only have two defenders on the bench. I got left back Roberto Carlos, and I have this center back. This guy, this is a major throwback, but what the impact he had and what he was able to do is just very undervalued and underlooked by everyone. And not a lot of people will know this player, but this is Bobby Moore. Bobby Moore. This guy was an absolute beast of a center back. And let me tell you that you know he's good when Pele himself mentioned in an article one time that Bobby Moore was the best center back he has ever come up against in his career. That is how you know this player is about it. I mean, he played for West Ham, so he played in the Premier League. He played for West Ham for more than 10 years, and he captained the English national team. And he was honestly one of the main reasons why England won the 1966 World Cup. And he really is regarded as one of the best defenders of all time. I mean, he played in over 600 games for West Ham, 16 years, winning multiple UEFA Cups, FA Cups. I mean, this guy won a lot. He was West Ham Player of the Year on 4 different occasions. West Ham even retired his number in 2008. That is how good this player was, and easily deserves a spot, not even just on the bench, but he could arguably fit into the all 11. That is how good this guy. He was very composed. He was known for reading the game really, really well, and he was able to anticipate such good tackles. Like I watched like some like gameplay on him before we started this podcast, and for his time, you could just see he was different. I mean, I know times have changed, but like this guy was a hard tackling, high jumping, really good overall defender. And he even ended up making the English Football Hall of Fame in 2010. I mean, he just did it all. He never won a Ballon d'Or, but I think he was runner up in 1970, I believe. So he was close. I mean, it's always tough for defenders to win Ballon d'Ors, but I mean, this player's done it all. Really good talent, and Bobby Moore deserves to be in the bench or starting 11 conversation.
Okay, not bad at all, Simone. Let's keep the train going. Number 4, or who's your 4th pick for the bench?
Well, just to say, I have to agree with him. This guy, his defensive awareness was insane, especially for a defender. And I wanted to mention him in my honorable mentions because he definitely deserves to be on this list. I mean, he's a great player, and I'm glad that you added him because I didn't. And if I thought of him, I probably would have. But I don't want to take away from my players because I think that my players still deserve it, and I think that he'll have a nice place in my honorable mentions.
Listen. I'm gonna return the favor, and I'm gonna say this. I do like the Sergio Ramos pick as well. That's why I have him as my only center back in the reserves. He's really good. Right. I mean. Yeah, I'll return the favor on that one. So respect with the Sergio Ramos pick. Good pick.
Okay, respect for that. Okay. Cool,
respect.
Cool.
All
right, for my first midfielder, I have another guy who Seth, I think, honorably mentioned, which is Andrea Pirlo.
I like that.
This Pirlo, oh my gosh, I love him. This guy is one of the most creative players I've ever seen. One of the most good-looking players as well. I'm just kidding.
That helps.
But oh my, but this guy was just insane. Like he is the definition of class and keeping your composure. Like you never see him get nervous or get scared for just a second. He's like the kind of guy you don't want to argue with because he won't stutter. You know, like this guy is just firm and he's, oh my gosh. All I can think of when I think of him is when he shut Joe Hart up, this super young goalkeeper who was one of the best goalkeepers in the world at one point in time, and he just chips him down the middle, making him dive to the right. And it's just like his composure was insanity. His passes were crazy. He had vision. He had composure. He had shots. He could do pretty much anything. And for me, the composure was one of the most important parts. Like you could just rely on him, and he wouldn't mess up. He wouldn't miss a crucial penalty, or he wouldn't, he wouldn't just miss an open net. This guy could do anything when you needed him to. He was reliable.
There we go.
I like that pick. Yeah, I had to have Pirlo in my honorable mentions. I mean, dude is a legend. One of the best midfielders of all time. So yeah, I respect on that pick for sure. He definitely would have made my reserves if I could have had more reserve spots actually. But obviously we were limited, so had to do what we had to do. But
gotcha.
Good pick. Mm-hmm. Good pick. All right. So I have 3 midfielders here. All
right.
But I'll just do one at a time here. But my first guy is actually a center attacking mid. I'm specifically going to give their specific positions so the audience understands my logic with these picks and how they would fit into the team. But regardless, it doesn't matter because this player should be on the bench or in the starting 11 of everyone's all-time 11. And this is Michel Platini, the French legend. He is at my center attacking mid. This guy won the Ballon d'Or 3 times in a row. 3 times in a row. He won in 83, 84, and 85. Obviously, this guy's a little controversial because he was the UEFA president in like 2015 or something, but then there was some like corrupt stuff and ethic violations around him. But regardless, we're not talking about him as a UEFA president. We're talking about him as his time of a player. And even though he has all these scandals, I just can't take away what he was able to do on the pitch as a player back in his day. So I had to add him there. He was just an absolute all-around baller. I mean, this guy, like I said, won 3 Ballon d'Ors. He was a key player for France that won the 84 Euros. He was top scorer and best player in that tournament. And he was a key player in helping France reach the semifinals of the 82 and 86 World Cups. And he's just a really good goal scorer too. And really good playmaker. I just loved watching his highlights and seeing his ability on the ball. I thought he was very creative. I think he's one of the best French players of all time, honestly. And I think he will fill in really well as a sub coming off the bench for my center attacking mid spot. And yeah, this guy just all around really good player, good vision, good technically on the ball. And I just had to have him in here. It's really hard not to have a 3-time Ballon d'Or winner not in your all-time 11. That's a little disrespectful in my opinion, but yeah, this guy did it all and will go down as one of the best French players in history. So
Fair
deserves to be
enough.
there.
Fair enough. Alrighty. We're getting there. Simone, number 5, I believe, for your bench players.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that Platini was a great player, and I mean, he's not the reason I'm not going to mention him even in my honorable mentions is because of that scandal. I know it's not about that, but you know, it's an ethic thing, and I can't put someone that has no ethics in there. So that's my reasoning, but I can completely see why you have him in there because if that never happened, then he definitely would have been on this list.
Yeah, I definitely don't agree with what he did, but I just can't take away what he did as a player. I had to have him in there.
No, I see where you're coming from. I completely see where you're coming from. But as my next midfielder, I have Javi Hernandez, the guy that Seth had in his reserves earlier.
Oh my gosh.
And I just had to. Like you said, he's Tiki, you know? Like, this guy is insane. And he, you know, I know that it's a duo kind of thing, and you need to have Andres Iniesta, but the reason I chose Javi, right, like, is just because, you know, he's a fantastic player. He can dribble, he can pass, he can shoot, he can do everything that you need a midfielder to do. And he's decorated in all areas, World Cup internationally, our club, Barcelona, you know, club level. And yeah, I mean, he's extremely creative and he was reliable and he was one of the best midfielders I've ever seen growing up. So that's why he's on that list for me.
Yeah, I
Makes
mean,
sense to us.
I mean, hey, I honestly actually had Javi on my bench for quite a while, but then I changed my formation and it just didn't work. He was very close though. There was one man I put ahead of him at positional wise, and that's why he's not there. But hey, I had him there at one point, and I respect that choice. I like it. So
Gotcha.
Fair play.
All right.
All right, so my next guy is also another center attacking mid. So just like Platini, somebody that I can just plug in and would just be an absolute baller. And this is a throwback. People should know who this is, but I understand if people don't, because this is a throwback to, I mean, we're talking like the 50s, 60s here. So this is a throwback, but he gets very underlooked, and I'll explain why. But at my center attacking mid position, I've got the Argentine legend Alfredo Di Stefano. So
There we go.
This guy is very underlooked because he's just always been in Maradona and Messi's shadows as an Argentina legend. but he's right there with them. Like, he is literally right there. Like, this guy is a baller. I mean, what he did on Real Madrid, oh, so good. 11 years on Real Madrid, 282 appearances, 216 goals. And he was just so good, especially like so good with Real Madrid, having that successful partnership with Puskas up top, and it was just amazing to see. I mean, he is regarded as just one of the greatest footballers of all time, and he helped Real Madrid really just dominate the European Cup and La Liga in the 50s. Like, he was the engine of that team and helped them dominate that time. But yeah, I mean, this guy gets, like I said, very underlooked because of what Messi and Maradona have done for Argentina. But I mean, this guy, he has it all. He has the talent. He had the talent back in the 50s and 60s when he played. I think he's a 2-time Ballon d'Or winner. Let me just check that real quick. Yes, he won in 1957 and 1959. So a 2-time Ballon d'Or winner.
There we go.
And he's won a bunch of individual trophies. Like I said, won a bunch of La Ligas, bunch of European Cups. And yeah, he's been part of world soccer teams, century teams, UEFA teams, greatest 11 teams. Like he's that guy. He deserves to be, in my opinion, this is a player that deserves to be in everyone's starting 11, bench, or starting 11. Like, that's how good he was, even though it was years ago. But not quite good enough to get into the starting 11, but would be one of my first subs off the bench in the midfield for sure. Absolute legend, Real Madrid legend. He really, he actually, I think he only played for Argentina like 6 times. I think he actually played for Argentina 6 times and scored 6 goals. But then he switched his nationality to Spain. So he played for Spain for the rest of his career, where I think he played like 31 appearances, 23 goals. So like, he's, I guess he's kind of known as an Argentina legend. I mean, that's where his nationality started, but like, he did play for Spain a lot of his career, but he's really known as a Real Madrid club legend. So that's where he did most of his damage and deserves to be on the list.
Fair enough. Simone, number 6 for your bench. Who do you got?
Well, I just want to say I like what Seth had to say about Di Stefano. He is a great player. And yeah, he is in Messi and Maradona's shadow. And yeah, I mean, you said everything you need to say. The guy was a
Legend.
fantastic player. And yeah, if I was doing what you did in the honorable mentions for, older players, he definitely would have been in there for me. But as you know, I took a 21st century approach. But anyways, okay. For my last midfielder, I have another player that Seth had earlier disrespected in his reserves, and that is Andres Iniesta, one of the best midfielders ever. You have the duo Andres Iniesta and Xavi Hernandez. You're not getting the ball. You're gonna have 20% possession because with these two guys on the ball, you're just not getting it. Yeah. Iniesta can dribble through half your team, and then he'll pass it off to Xavi, who'll just, pinpoint your striker and just send it right into him, and you're done. Like, these guys are insane. And obviously, like Seth said, you have to have Tiki and Taka, yin and yang. These guys are together, and they're the package deal, and that's why they're in here together. There's no need to explain any further because we all know how amazing Iniesta and Xavi are. So
Yeah.
that's all I have to say.
Yep, and we've heard him before. So very solid picks for your bench. Seth, you got anyone for your number 6, 6th bench player?
Yeah, so this is my third and final midfielder here. And he is a center defensive mid, and in my opinion, probably one of the best, if not the best, center defensive mid of all time. People overshadow this guy, always forget about him. But it's the German legend Lothar Matthäus. This guy was a baller. I mean, he was so physical, so aggressive. And just like when I talked about Bobby Moore and Pele saying like, oh, like this is the best defender I've ever come up against. This is what Diego Maradona said about Lothar Matthäus. Is Diego Maradona said that he is the best rival he's ever had, and that he guessed that's not enough to define him. Like, that's how good this guy is. That you're literally getting one of the best players of all time to say this about you. And he is actually the player, just so Simone is aware, he is the player I did put ahead of Xavi at that like center defensive mid spot, and is why he's there. It's just I need a player like him on the bench. Somebody that's super aggressive, super physical, can really control the ball in the midfield. And this guy, I mean, he helped, or he captained West Germany to victory in the 1990 World Cup. He was a Ballon d'Or winner in 1991. And he was also named FIFA World Player of the Year that year. And he's played in 5 World Cups. And is just so underrated and underappreciated as a midfielder. But yeah, I mean, he's won multiple Euros. He has been voted German Footballer of the Year on a couple different occasions. He's the most capped German player of all time, with I think about like 150 appearances. And yeah, just a very versatile, complete player. He was just known for, like I said, his physicalness, but also his positioning was really good. Very good at tackling. He was a powerful shooter, good passer, very just box-to-box midfielder. And that's somebody I need on my team that I can bring on the bench if the midfield's struggling and just regain control of the game. And he's that guy. So he definitely deserves a bench spot for me. He's just that. He's that big German midfielder that you need in the like somebody you can. I mean, in my opinion, he's better than these guys, but like you can relate him to like Kimmich or Goretzka, like the big Bayern Munich German midfield. Like you need somebody like that, I believe, on the bench or in the starting 11 to really help add stability to the team, which is why he is there for me.
Okay. Not a bad pick for the bench. We're getting to the nitty gritty. Simone, go ahead. Your 7th pick for the bench.
I do have to say that is a good pick. And we're using completely different tactics here, which is why I don't have that kind of CDM. But if I did have a CDM, that guy is a fantastic player.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, he's like an old version of Casemiro, just 10 times, like on steroids, essentially, like I said about other players. He's aggressive, and he can win the ball, and that's what you need from a center defensive mid.
Yeah, and I will say, just real quick, I am actually not using a center defensive mid in my formation either, but I wanted to have a center defensive mid on the bench in case I ever wanted to switch up the formation and have a midfielder drop more. So I thought it was crucial to have one, but I just wanted to make it clear that I do not have a center defensive mid starting in the all-time 11. But yeah, need one on the bench, in my opinion.
All right. So for my next pick, this is my first forward, for my next sub, I mean. And that is another player that Seth has already mentioned, Eusebio. This guy, like he mentioned, is a goal-scoring machine, and this is the kind of player you want to come in as a sub, you know? Like, not even as a sub. He deserves a start, but I just can't start him over my other players.
Right.
But if you have Eusebio coming in, it's pretty much a guaranteed goal. This guy scores goals like crazy. Yeah, I mean, he can dribble, he can shoot, and like that's exactly what you need in a striker. And um, I know that it was a different time back then, and it was probably maybe I guess you could say
Doesn't
at least
matter.
different back then.
It doesn't
but
matter.
yeah, I mean, he did what he needed to do, and he was a
Exactly.
big guy. He was strong, and yeah, I mean, at 5'9" this guy, he's not the biggest guy. He's around my height, but geez, like he could do just about anything. So yeah, he's the kind of guy I wanted on my subs. Deserves to be in the all-time squad, just not over some of the other players I have in there. But yeah, overall great player.
And very solid, very solid. We heard it from Seth, and makes sense that you got him on the bench. Seth, your 7th player.
Yeah, so I just want to mention real quick, Eusebio. Love Eusebio. That's why I have him in my reserves. He was actually going to be on the bench, but just the way I'm doing the lineup, Eusebio's a striker, so I actually only have one striker on my bench, and I just don't think he's better than this one striker. But I do like that pick a lot from you, so very good. Yeah, so I have 3 attackers here. I've got a striker, I've got a right wing, and I got a left wing. I feel like I had to have one of each because that's what it is in my formation for my all-time 11. So I wanted to have a like-for-like replacement. As the manager of this team, I felt that was best. So I'll start with my left wing player here. Somebody Simone has mentioned, and somebody I feel he disrespected a little bit, but it's all right. I'll get over it. And that left wing is none other than Ronaldinho. Ronaldinho, man. I mean, I understand, Simone said he's not all about the flicks and the tricks and like, that's why it was a little lower for him. But I think he was more than that, man. He was more than that. I mean, he was a generational talent, like at that time. Generational. I mean, this guy, he won a Ballon d'Or, first of all. He won 2 FIFA World Player of the Year awards. He's a global icon, and like his style of play is something that was never seen until him. And now a lot of players kind of implement it into their game. I mean, like, well, not a lot, but like a few do, and it's getting a little more common. I mean, Neymar is probably the one most people would think of, but I mean, his style of play was brand new. He brought something people never seen. People called him the magician. I mean, he was known for his technical skills, his creativity with not just on the ball, but with his vision and passing. His dribbling was, oh my God, at the time, like none other. He was very accurate, a very accurate free kick taker. And yes, I'm a fan of the tricks, the feints, the body feints, the no look passing, the overhead kicks. Like I love that. I love that. I want to have that kind of player on my bench, somebody I could bring on that can change the game like that. And that is what Dino is, man. He has a great ability to score and to especially create goals. I mean, he had all the characteristics to make him a great footballer, a different kind of footballer, which is what I want on this team. I will say his prime was cut short. Like, I feel like he was really only that guy for like 4 years. And after like 2006 World Cup, he kind of never found himself again. But I mean, this guy is, and I just love him. One of my favorite players to watch, and he has great accolades, like I said, just part of multiple UEFA teams and FIFA teams, all-star teams, world teams. Like, he deserves to be there. He is somebody that, just will add a little like pizzazz to the team, add that spark. And he's somebody that I would be so excited to bring off the bench. So Ronaldinho, without question, had to be there, left wing on the bench.
Not bad at all. Makes a good case. But all right, Simone, let's get through these last 2 guys. Let's get through them. So who's your 8th pick for your bench?
Yeah, I just need to say that I meant no disrespect to Ronaldinho. I agree, he is a magician, but the thing is, the reason he wasn't higher for me, Seth, is because he was that magician that you're talking about for like 2 to 3 seasons, and in a career you're gonna have at least 10 seasons. Like in a real career, it's gonna be 10 seasons. And the thing is, aside from those 3 seasons where he was, like you said, magical, and incredibly good, he was also incredibly inconsistent, and he had super bad habits that kind of messed up his career in an extent. And so, like, I feel like all the highlights you watch now are just those games where he was performing well, and you're not going to see those games which were pretty common where he wasn't at his best. And not to say, like, the thing is, I think he was one of the best players to ever exist. The thing is, to me, it's about consistency, and he was not consistent.
That's fair. I will take that opinion.
But yeah, that's why he's in my reserves. He's still fantastic. It's just that, to me, it's about consistency, and you didn't really get that from him that often. Even though when he was on his game, he was insanely good. It's just it's consistency.
Right.
But anyways,
Yeah.
leading into my next choice, I have one of the most famous soccer players of all time, Johan Cruyff, the Dutch legend.
Oh, no, don't even tell me you just said Johan Cruyff is on your bench. No
Yeah.
way.
Oh, you should see something right now.
Okay.
You
All
know,
right. You know
Johan,
what? Okay.
look.
All right. It could have been someone worse, so I guess I'm okay with it. All right.
Look, all I gotta tell you is that this is in no particular order either on my bench. Like, these are just bench players.
Right.
And obviously, I don't think he deserves to be on the bench. But the thing is, he just isn't. He can't be placed above who I have in my all-time squad. And he was an amazing
Okay.
player. This guy is insane. And don't get me wrong, like, I freaking love him. What an amazing player Johan Cruyff is. He revolutionized the way you play. He was agile, and they named skills after him because of how often he used them and how different he
Cruyff
was to
turn.
other players, especially for his time. Exactly. The Cruyff turn. And, he was so close to being on my all-time squad. And if I had a second striker, he would have been there. But he's not my top striker. But yeah, sensational
my.
player.
Seth
And,
almost just
yeah, he deserved to be there.
Seth nearly just imploded as you were describing Johan Cruyff, but
All right. The only reason I'm okay with it is because there's a player that I think you will disagree with that is on my bench, but we will see.
oh boy,
But we'll
did they
see.
switch strikers? Let's see.
We will see. But that is not the player who is next. The next player I have is a right wing. Another Brazilian legend that Simone has mentioned already, and that is Mane Garincha. I mean, this guy, he already said what needs to be said about this guy.
Right.
Like one of the greatest dribblers of all time. He's the one that really started that all. That really fast pace, quick feet dribbling. That was him. He played a vital role for when Brazil won in 58 and 62. When Pele got injured in 62, Garincha really helped, help Brazil win that tournament with just dominating performances throughout the tournament. And he was actually the first player to win the Golden Ball, Golden Boot, and the World Cup in the same tournament. So pretty crazy. And yeah, he was named to multiple All-Star teams, FIFA World Cup, all-time teams, century teams. Simone, I'm glad he had him in. Did you have him in? Was he in your reserves or was he honorable mentions for you, Garincha?
He was in my reserves, but he
Okay,
was so
okay.
close to making my subs too.
All right,
he
so
was,
all
on
right,
the
good,
brink.
good. Though I'm glad you at least had him in your reserves. Glad we both can agree on
Yeah.
this Brazilian legend. Honestly, one of the best. Easily, probably the third best Brazil legend. Arguably top 5, but definitely a really, really good player, and he just brings that something different to the table, like Dino does. Like, I want to be able to replace my left wing and right wing with these two dynamic players, these two dynamic Brazilians that bring really good skill sets. So it excites me to have both them on the bench here. yeah, I really love Garinchka, so great player.
All righty. Very solid indeed. All right, we've made it to the last pick for the bench before the all-time 11. Simone, end it with a bang. Who do you got?
My last bench player who would never play on a bench, and if this was real, if in real life this guy would never be on the bench, like pretty
Right.
much all of these players, honestly.
I'm scared.
Oh, boy.
I have Thierry Henry.
Oh, okay, never mind. Okay. No, never mind. Okay.
This guy was amazing. One of the fastest players to ever do it. Literally, like one of the there's this clip that I've seen, and I'm pretty sure it's like stretched so it looks like he's running faster, but he just completely outpaces a defender and scores a beautiful goal. This guy is insane. He was creative. He could pass. He could shoot, and he was fast. And he was like, I've said this 3 times now, but like he was like Mbappe on steroids.
Right.
10 times better. No, Mbappe will never reach his level.
Oh.
And like he was insane. I love Thierry Henry. He was a leader. He played for some of the biggest clubs in the world, and he won quite a few trophies with all of them. So, all props to him, and yeah, he deserves that spot he has right there.
Love to hear it. Nice and concise. We like it. Seth, your final bench player.
Yeah. So Thierry Henry, yeah, I think he's definitely a great player. He actually kind of just missed out on my honorable mentions, but he was kind of there. I'm a little surprised with that pick. I mean, he's a very good player, but if depending on your formation, if he's that striker for you, like he's kind of considered like top 3 striker. A little surprising for me, but I can't take anything away from Henry. Great player, but my striker is going to cause some major debate.
Oh, boy.
I already it actually really pained me to have to put this guy on the bench, and it's gonna strike debate, but it will make sense when you see my formation. Well, and I will say, just because I wanted to make it look or like present good, I did run a 4-3-3 formation, Simone. So we, if that's what you're still running, because I just figured, you know what, make it easier, we'll run that.
Yes.
So okay, so good. We're both running 4-3-3, and so usually within the 4-3-3, there's only one striker. So. There's 2 really legendary strikers. One of them had to take the bench because of this. And that striker is R9. Ronaldo Nazario is on the bench here.
Yo.
Oh, man.
What?
Has to take the bench spot. I mean, listen.
What?
It pained me. It really pained me.
There's no way you're putting Johan Cruyff over Ronaldo Nazario.
Well, no, not. Well, I am, but not at that position. Not at that position.
Okay.
You will understand. Trust me, you will understand. So let me get this straight. So Ronaldo,
my
R9 is a pure number 9 striker. Like that's what he is. And there's only one spot for that. And you all will understand who I give that one spot to. It may be Cruyff, it may be someone else, it may spark debate, but we'll see.
Oh, boy.
I knew R9 would cause debate, but let me tell you, he is right there. He will be the first sub all the time. I mean, this is a legendary player, man. He had a legendary career at Real Madrid, at Inter. He actually even played for Barcelona a little bit as well. But legend for Brazil. I think he played in 98 matches, scored 62 goals, so third highest goal scorer for them. He was the youngest member of the Brazilian squad that won the 94 World Cup. And he, at the 98 World Cup, Ronaldo received the Golden Ball as the player of the tournament He helped them reach the final. He was a star in that 2002 World Cup with Ronaldinho and Rivaldo. Scored twice in the final, received the Golden Boot. And yeah, I mean, it sucks that injuries cut this man's career. Like he could have been so much more. I mean, he already is an absolute legend. And he has just done so much. Like, his ability to score goals was like none other. And just what he was able to do on the pitch to create plays for his team and create chances to score on goal and just be an all-out great number 9. It was just so good. And yeah, I mean, this guy has plenty of accolades. Like I said, I mean, multiple World Player of the Years, like top goal scorer of the years, like different cups he's won, FIFA 11 century teams, world teams, he's won so many individual awards. Such a great striker, but he just falls short. The Brazilian legend. I'm sorry, R9. I'm sorry, Brazil fans. I know you won't like that take. It hurt me a lot too. This guy is amazing. Will go down as one of the best strikers of all time. And I mean, he just really brought a new dimension to that position of the number 9 position. Like, he was able to just do multiple things at one time, and he really influenced a generation of strikers after him. So, great player. Love him. Sorry, Simone. Had to hit the bench.
Oh my goodness. Well, already, Simone, before you get too heated with the reactions, because I'm sure based on your reaction, you're going to mention him on your starting squad. And speaking of the starting 11 squad, we're a bit over, but, who cares at this point? We are down to the starting 11. Who are these guys' best 11 players of all time? It's been a long time coming, but we've made it. Both of these guys are running a 4-3-3 formation, so that is good to know. And it'll be interesting to see and hear about the differences that these guys have with the players on their teams. But without wasting any more time, let's get straight to it. Simone, we're going to start this off with you yet again. I guess we'll go from the keeper upwards. So who is your all-time 11 starting goalkeeper, Simone?
Just before I get into this, I just want to say, Seth, you better have a really good striker to replace Ronaldo.
I don't think you'll be disappointed.
Okay. Anyways, all right. So my pick for my goalkeeper might be a little controversial and honestly a little biased, but you can't cut this guy any.
Don't say Kepa.
You can't take. Yeah, you can't take away from him. All right. Kepa is. I'm just kidding. We have. To be fair, though, it is a Chelsea goalkeeper. It is Peter Cech.
Okay.
In my opinion, this guy was insane. I know that there's other great goalkeepers that I wanted to mention, like Buffon or Yashin or Neuer or Casillas even. It was hard for me to put Casillas in the sub as well, but Cech was just something else. This guy came up clutch so many times in his prime for Chelsea. He's the reason alone, or not alone, but he's the reason that we won the Champions League that very first time in 2012. He saved a penalty in the last 2 minutes, and he saved multiple shots from Arjen Robben, one of the most deadly wingers at that time. And this guy, that was just one performance, and that was the Champions League final. He did this day in and day out, saving shot after shot after shot. And for a long time, Chelsea's defense was almost impenetrable, and that was because of the freaking goalkeeper, not because of how amazing the defense was, which was it was great, don't get me wrong, but their goalkeeper, our goalkeeper, is what made us impenetrable. This guy was insane, and it was like having a wall inside of your goal. Like, it was almost impossible to score a regular goal on him. You'd have to get lucky, and you would, the only way you score on him is if like a fly was in his face, or like he couldn't see because you were flashing a flashlight at him, because this guy, he could save just about anything.
Right. All right, solid pick for your goalkeeper. Let's move right along to Seth. Your goalkeeper position for the starting 11.
Yeah, so it was kind of close between Buffon and this guy. This is somebody that not a lot of people would think of, but literally revolutionized the goalkeeping position and is just an absolute legend. And my goalkeeper is Lev Yashin. Absolute legend, this guy. He only played for top Russian club Dynamo Moscow, which I feel like most people should know. He played for about 20 years between 1950 and 1970. Made about 326 appearances for them. And he also made 74 appearances for the Soviet Union national team between 1954 and 1970. And this guy was unbelievable. Like this guy Yashin, let me tell you, if you guys haven't seen him, like, I mean, obviously it's years ago, so you probably haven't.
I have not. Nope.
I mean, he
Can't.
was known for his positioning, his athleticism, his bravery in goal, just being a really imposing threat, and making insane acrobatic like saves that weren't seen or known for at that time. And can I say, Yashin is the only goalkeeper in football history to this date who has actually managed to win the Ballon d'Or. He won the Ballon d'Or in 1963. Is the only keeper to have done that. Some have come close, but he is the only one to do it. This guy was named European goalkeeper for several years. He was actually named FIFA goalkeeper of the century in 2000. And I think he appeared in about 812 total games, had 270 clean sheets, which actually translates to about 0.99 or basically one clean sheet in every 3 matches. So pretty decent. And this is just an interesting fact, but Yashin, he actually holds the record for most penalty kick saves during his career. 151 penalty kicks saved by Yashin. That's a lot of penalties. That's kind of crazy.
That is.
And he's actually known as one of the inventors of the quick throw. Like, you know, when keepers throw it really long to get like a quick counterattack going, it was actually him that kind of invented that and came up with that. So he had to be in my all-time 11. He revolutionized the goalkeeping position and really was the pioneer for goalkeeping. And yeah, he not only did he invent that, he also incorporated like running out of the goalie box to like get a ball, kick a ball away, punching the ball. You know how keepers punch the ball when balls come into the box? He started that too. He just revolutionized it. He started so many things. So the dude had to be on the list as the greatest goalkeeper of all time. Yashin.
Fair
What a beast.
enough. Seems like a very solid argument. But let's get straight on to our next pick. Simone, who do you got for your defensive positions?
I just wanted to mention that Yashin was a great choice, and that if I didn't choose Czech, I probably would have chose him. After Casillas, though, I had to add Casillas too. But if we want to get technical, I just want to add some stats about Czech. Is that he set a new record in top flight football for not conceding a goal in over 1,024 minutes. And he's had the most clean sheets in a Premier League season, which is 21. So that's more than half of the games gone goalless.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Absolute legend.
I think Yashin was a great choice, and I think that our keepers are both respectable choices.
Yeah, I like your pick.
I can't complain about your pick at
Nope.
all.
No, I like
But
yours.
For my right back, I have the man, the myth, the legend, who is still currently playing at FC Barcelona, Dani Alves, one of the best defenders to ever do it on the right back. This guy he could pocket. Now, I'm not going to say pocket, but he could hold his own against prime Ronaldo. And he could, this guy could do pretty much anything. He can attack, he can defend. he can take criticism. That people would throw bananas at him, and he'd just start eating them mid game. You know, like this guy, he's an amazing player, all around player, just like Marcelo. But a lot more defensively minded, I feel, than Marcelo, and that's why I have him in the actual all-time 11, because he could defend like crazy, and he deserves a spot as right back, all-time ever best player.
Yeah.
Not bad at all. Good choice. Good choice. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I don't mind that pick actually. That's not bad at all. Especially if you're looking more defensive minded, like right backs. I like that. But I'm kind of going in a completely different direction here. I'm looking for, because I have faith in my center backs when we get there, I want my right back to be flying up the right side. Somebody that really gets it like part of the offense. And to me, this is the greatest right back of all time. Had to go with the Brazilian Cafu. Cafu, man. I mean, this guy was just like Roberto Carlos on that left side for Brazil. So like offensively minded, and that's what I love about him. Great defender too. Like can't take anything away from his defense. Really good. But man, Cafu, one of the best Brazilian legends just in general of all time. He appeared in 3 World Cup finals, and in which I think they won 2 of them. And I believe he captained the team in the 2002 World Cup. So very impressive for Cafu. He's been part of UEFA Team of the Years multiple times, FIFA World 11, South American Footballer of the Year. He was part of the 21st Century World Team. He was inducted into both. He played for AC Milan and AS Roma, inducted into both their Hall of Fames. He's just, like I said, known as one of the best right backs of all time. Very offensive minded. Loves to make those attacking runs on the flank. Was really good with his crosses, sent in accurate crosses. And he was so good offensively that he would sometimes play as a winger. Like that's how good he was. And he was really quick too. Was really quick. That's what I love to have for my left and right backs, excuse me. Just quick players. Cafu just checks off all the boxes for me for what I'm looking for. So Cafu is my right back of choice.
Not bad. All right, Simone, you can take a quick note on that and then head over to your next defensive player.
I like that pick a lot. Cafu is a great player, and I wanted to go with him, but I thought that I should have one, I guess, attacking defender and one more defensive defender. And the thing is, Dani Alves, in my opinion, can do both, but he is a little bit more defensive, which is why on the left back, I have an offensive defender, again from Brazil, who you had in your subs, Roberto Carlos.
Respect.
Roberto Carlos, he's basically exactly what you just described of Cafu. You know, like, this guy was insane. He could shoot from any distance, literally at the halfway line, and he could curl it in somehow. He was an insane player, very attack-minded, very aggressive, and still a very good defender. He had a very good prime at Real Madrid, and especially on the Brazilian national team, and just a fantastic player overall. I mean, you said everything I really needed to say about him earlier, because this guy was incredible.
That makes sense to us. Seems like a very dominant left back player. Seth, go ahead.
Yeah, so like I said, Roberto Carlos is my second choice left back, so I have no problem with you having him as your first choice left back. But this guy right here to me is the best left back in the history of the game. And he is just an absolute legend. And he is one of the greatest just footballers of all time. And he is an AC Milan legend, actually. And my left back choice is Paolo Maldini. Legend. If you don't know about Paolo Maldini, you need to do your research. Like, this guy did it all. I mean, he appeared in like 900 games for AC Milan across all competitions, winning like Super Cups and Champions Leagues and just different titles. And I mean, this guy, unbelievable. He has so many individual honors to his name. UEFA Club Defender, a Defender of the Year, FIFA World Cup All-Star Team. I mean, this guy is just amazing. He was inducted into the Italian Football Hall of Fame. And he's just so good. Like, you could not get by this guy. You know, he's not like the fastest, so he's not like Cafu, but he is a really strong one-on-one defender. Like, you're not going to beat this guy. And he I don't know if he won Ballon d'Or. I gotta take a look at that, but I think no, he did not. He got third twice in Ballon d'Or voting twice. I think in 94 and 03. But man, what an absolute guy Paolo Maldini is. I mean, he was really good with both feet too, so that helped him a lot. I mean, he was known for his intelligence on the ball, just physical play. He was a bigger guy, strength. Like, you were not like knocking that guy off the ball or getting around him easily. And because of that, of course, he was really good at heading the ball, really good with tackles, just a really strong all-around left back. Had to be in my all-time 11. Paolo Maldini, not just the best left back in the world, but one of the best defenders in the world of all time. Paolo Maldini had to be in there.
Sensible argument. All right, Simone, let's keep the ball rolling. Your next defender after, if you want to do a quick note on Seth's pick.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to be that guy, but Seth, you're wrong.
I don't think I am, buddy. I don't think I am.
Left back. He is the best center back in the world. I have him as my first center back. Paolo Maldini. I know he played left back, but he also played center back, and I think that with his
center
ability,
back.
He is better at the center back position. You know, because like you mentioned, he's not the fastest player, but he's a guy that you don't want to get in front of. He'll take it from you, and that's why I have him in the center back, a more defensively important position, and that's why he's there for me. I agree with. I was just messing with you earlier. I completely agree with the choice to have Maldini, but I just think that he deserves to be in the center back position. Here's a quote of him.
Fair.
Maldini was the best and toughest defender I ever faced. He had everything. He was a complete defender who was strong, intelligent, and an excellent man marker. This guy would not give you any breathing room at all. And when he turned 18, he had over 1,000 appearances for both his club and his country, which is pretty much unheard of
That's scary.
anywhere. Like, this guy was playing top-level football at the age of 16. He was still a teenager. He's younger than all of us, and he was considered like one of the best players of his time because of how, you know, like when he was, oh my gosh, I just can't say enough good things about him. He like Seth mentioned earlier, he can defend for his life. You know, he wasn't the most attacking player, but he did exactly what he needed to do, and that was control the center back area or the left back area, honestly. And another really important thing about him, that I wanted to mention, which is why I have him over Ramos, is because he only had a total of 3 red cards in his entire career, while Ramos at Madrid was given 4 red cards in a single year. So, despite being an insane defender, he was also very composed, and he wasn't, letting his feelings get the better of him or his emotions get the better of him, and he never played recklessly, and because of that, it paid off, and he was a very consistent and reliable defender. Like Ramos is an amazing defender too, but he was not as reliable because, hey, maybe he'll get a red card. You don't know. You never know what he's gonna do. And Maldini, he was different. This guy knew exactly how to defend, exactly when to put his leg in, when to slide, and it was perfect.
Fair enough. Now, Seth, after hearing that, what do you got to say about your center defensive player position?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I had Maldini in my all-time 11, so I like the pick. I just prefer him on the left back side. He played a lot of his games at the left back side, but he also did play center back. So I think he's fine either way. He's just an all-around great defender, so I'm totally fine with that. but I put him at left back because I wanted to save the center back position, my first center back position, for one of his AC Milan teammates, actually. And that is Franco Baresi. This guy, let me tell you about Franco Baresi real quick. I mean, first of all, I think, obviously we're not doing chemistry like in this all-time 11, but hey, they're both AC Milan products. Have him line up right next to, wow, I just totally blanked on his name. Right next to, Maldini, geez. Line up right next to Maldini. I think that would be great.
It's late. We're all blanking.
Yeah. So Franco Baresi, though, he's my first center back here. Not the strongest of defenders, but man, he was one of the best, like, when it came to like defensive techniques of like all time, whether that was tackling, heading, passing the ball, being able to control it really well. Like I said, he wasn't that tall. But wasn't like the biggest guy, but it didn't matter when it came to him. I mean, this guy could run all over the field, make any tackle, get in your face. He was just that annoying center back you never wanted to play against. He captained both AC Milan and Italy throughout his career. Won the 1982 World Cup with Italy. He was actually named AC Milan Player of the Century in 1999, so pretty good there. He was also, just like Maldini was, he was inducted into the Italian Football and AC Milan Hall of Fame. Just really good all-around player. Like I said, not the biggest, not the scariest, but defensively, like tactically and technically, he was just really good. Like really good, like one of the better center backs at that. Never panicked in the back. Always was under control, always able to play the right good pass, and that's somebody I want and have full confidence to play as one of my center backs. So, Franco Baresi.
Alrighty, fair enough. All right, Simone, with one center back position left, who do you have to fill out your defense?
My last defender is none other than the German legend himself, Franz Beckenbauer.
Thank God. Oh, if you said anybody else, I was going to come over there and kick your ass. Oh, my God. Thank God. Okay.
Oh, man.
We're
Seth,
good.
do you have him as well?
Oh, dude. It's not even close. Of course.
Okay,
Franz
good.
Beckenbauer.
So we can
Perfect.
talk about him then.
Yeah, we could
Yeah,
have a little
this guy-
conversation.
Oh my god. Okay, we finally agree on one guy. I know we both had Maldini, but
Love
we have
to see
the
it.
exact
Love
positioning
to
now for
see it.
Beckenbauer. And yeah, I mean, I have to give him all the props. He was the first defender to ever win the Ballon d'Or, and he was the only defender to win it more than once. This
Just
guy
the greatest
was
defender of all time. Period. That's literally, like, that's all you have to
Yeah.
say. Like, literally the greatest defender of all time. like, I mean, he was known as the Emperor. Did you guys know that? He was known as the Emperor in Germany. Like that's when like you've done
You've
it.
kind of made it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yikes.
But yeah,
I mean,
this guy, dude, crazy.
he revolutionized his position.
Oh, yeah.
Every position he played in completely revolutionized it. And I just want to give a little stat. In one of his very first seasons, the 1965-66 season, he was just a young boy. He scored 16 goals in 31 appearances, which is about
Crazy,
one
man.
one
That's
goal every
crazy.
2 games. At that position too, like that's not a position where you're expecting a guy to get a bunch of goals from. And I mean, look at him, super young, he was able to do it all. This guy, he could do anything. This guy, the Emperor, could do just about anything. National hero, also, legend.
No, like he literally could do anything. Like he was so fluid on the pitch. Like this dude could literally like take over teams like offenses like single-handedly. Like he was that scary. And he also you mentioned he was the first defender to win the Ballon d'Or. He not only won it once, he won it twice. In 72 and 76. And he's actually he's one of 3 footballers in history to have won the World Cup as both a player and a manager. So that's kind of funny, actually. But yeah, if I can't even go through this guy's accolades, it's just so much. I mean,
Yeah, we'd be here all
all-star
night.
teams, World Cup 11s, like 20th century teams, 100th anniversary team, like so good. He was so good at commanding the back line, a great tackler, great passer, dribbler, and just amazing at
Yeah.
everything. Everything.
That's all you need to say.
Good pace, very composed, good in possession, played a key role in counterattacks. He just did everything as a defender. There's not one bad thing you could say about him. I can't even think of it. Like, I could pick other players, but you can't pick Franz Beckenbauer. You just can't.
Yeah.
The GOAT defender. He is the GOAT defender.
I mean, and that is what we are doing here on this all-time 11. We have the GOATs up here for a reason, and that is our defense. Comment below what you guys think about that. But, you know, glad we ended on a friendly note where we can agree. Now, we might... Oh, I'm interested to see how these next two, sections of the team will work out. First, I think we're going to talk about the midfield. 3 positions in there. And, oh, boy, Simone, let's start with you. Who is your first midfielder that you would like to discuss on your starting all-time 11, geez.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if Seth and I don't have about the same players here, then Seth is just completely wrong.
Oh,
Yeah, we'll see.
But
We'll
I have
see.
faith. I have faith that he's gonna have a similar composition as to me. But I mean, we'll see. But anyways, my first player on the left mid is Pele.
there we go.
He can play striker or center mid, and because in this specific lineup, I knew I had to have him on the team. So because of this, he is in the center mid area, on the left specifically. And I mean, what else? Like, what do I need to tell you about Pelé? Because everyone should know who this guy is. He's the one legend that
even
you
have to say
have to
anything.
know.
He's like the one
Like-
player where even people that don't watch soccer, they just randomly say his name and they,
Literally, like this guy.
I mean, he has
is
a kid
different,
named
you know?
out of him, for crying out loud.
Yeah, I mean, I read books about this kid when I was younger, and he went through a lot when he was younger. He got made fun of because he played without any shoes, and everyone thought that they were better than him, and then he just completely turned up on them. You can even watch it in his little documentary. It was beautiful. And how he was just a super humble player. He came from nothing, and he just made a name for himself out of nothing. He played on the streets, and he juggled mangoes. And because of that, he became one of the best players in the world. And he's a small guy, don't get me wrong, and I hate saying it because I'm close to his height, but just a little bit taller.
Oh, no, you can't expose yourself like that,
but-
Simone.
But like, oh my gosh, he could dribble, he could shoot, he could bang it from anywhere. He's an insane player.
And that's pretty much
Absolutely
all you really have to
ridiculous.
say. I mean, we all know the legend that is Pele. He's almost like a myth at this point. But, all right, Seth, your first midfielder, who are you going to select?
Yeah, so I'll try and follow Simone here and who he selects. So in my 4-3-3, I don't have a left mid specifically. I'm running a center mid, and then I'm running 2 center attacking mids. That one plays like on the left side, one plays on the right side, but they kind of play in. I wish I could like show you on like a paper what it would look like, but I hope that makes sense. So I
Makes
don't
sense.
have a distinct left mid or right mid. So I'm just gonna say center attacking mid. That's on the left side. So that's probably the
Makes enough
closest I
sense
could
to
get
us.
to Simone's position. So my center attacking mid on the left side is none other than the man, Johan Cruyff.
There it is.
Had to have Cruyff in the all-time 11. Like, I mean,
After that reaction, when Simone said his name,
yeah,
makes sense.
I mean, the only reason I was okay with it is because I'm really hoping from here on out that the only difference in me and Simone's all-time 11 is that he has R9 and I have Cruyff. If that's the only difference, I will be content. If there's other differences, there's going to be some problems.
Oh boy.
But anyways, Johan Cruyff, I mean, yeah, Simone already talked about him. Legend. Literally has a whole move named after him. I mean, he was one of the first footballers to really introduce skills. And like, I just feel like you can't pass on this guy in the best 11. Like, I mean, he is the most legendary Dutch footballer of all time. Like, this dude literally played football like with his mind. Like, he just knew the game like inside and out. Like, his play style was
Like,
like,
if he was blind, he would still be able to pretty much play.
exactly. Like, it's unbelievable. He was called the artist footballer, football thinker. Like, he had so many different nicknames. Like, his IQ, like,
It's like the Socrates of football.
literally, like I don't think there's a player in history that has like an IQ as much as him. I mean, like, sure, there's players that are close, like Pirlo and Xavi, I'm sure, but like, bro, Johan Cruyff was on another level. I mean, he had been at the heart of a revolution with his football style, and he just was like, it was just something of his own that was so distinct from other footballers, and it just made him godlike. He was actually the first footballer ever in the history of football to win the Ballon d'Or 3 times. He won in 71, 73, 74. And he's the first footballer, just a little fun fact, first footballer to ever cost more than $2 million.
Oh,
It's kind of funny, right?
yeah.
And this was in 1973.
No, that's pricey.
$2 million in 1973 when he went from Ajax to Barcelona. Crazy, man.
Barcelona had that kind of money way back then too.
I know.
My goodness.
Crazy. But yeah, his thoughtfulness, his mindfulness, and the way he played was just unmatched. Absolute legend. Has to be in the all-time 11. Fits perfectly in that center attacking mid role. And yeah.
All right. Love to hear it. Johan Cruyff has made Seth's list. Now, Simone, it is up to you yet again. You have 2 more midfielders left. Who is next on your list? You heard the man, Seth.
Should be the same from here on out.
You heard him. He's putting pressure on you.
Nah, I'm gonna be disappointed in him if it's not the same.
I'm gonna be
honestly.
disappointed in you if it's not the same.
Boy. All right.
But yeah, I mean, I want to just say that I said left mid just to make it clear, but I have the same kind of like formation as you, Seth. I don't have an actual left mid. I just wanted to make it easy.
Gotcha.
But anyways, I'm just gonna keep saying it like that so it just stays simple. But
Right.
for my center mid, I have the French legend Zinedine Zidane.
All right.
Okay.
All
And
right.
This guy was an absolute menace on the pitch. Like,
Was Seth
an
about to say that he has him
actual
as his center mid
goal-scoring-
too?
I was, yeah. I mean, we could just
Oh.
talk about him together because I also have.
Okay.
I mean, Zinedine Zidane
Perfect.
is my center mid as well. Yeah, the heart of the team right there. So
Good,
yeah,
good,
let's
Chat
talk
about him together.
Zidane here. So
Dude, he's an amazing player and a coach. He led Real Madrid to 3
I
different
know, what a
Champions League
coach.
titles as a coach.
yeah,
And that's just as a coach. As a player, he was even better. He did so many spectacular things that you've never... Like, he could score volleys from outside of the 18.
I know.
It was ridiculous. And he had
just
pinpoint
one of the best
accuracy.
playmakers of all time. Crazy.
Absolute legend. And he is known notoriously or infamously for his headbutt against... who was it in the
that
finals?
was him.
Or
Oh
close to
jeez,
that?
I can't remember his name.
But he headbutts this guy because
Yeah,
he's
the
talking about
Italian
his
guy.
mother or something.
Yeah.
And he gets a red card and gets sent off. But aside
Iconic.
from that, this guy, like everything he
I mean,
did,
what a way
even,
to leave.
even getting sent
Yeah.
off was iconic. Exactly. This guy could put on a show. It was beautiful to watch him play.
Yeah, I mean, totally agree with everything you said. I mean, his elegance, vision, passing, ball control, everything, his technique on the ball, flawless. It was beautiful to watch. Won FIFA World Player of the Year 3 times, 1998 Ballon d'Or winner. Yeah, I mean, this dude, Real Madrid legend, played for Juventus as well, But you know, he wasn't a crazy goal scorer, but like when he did score, like Simone said, they were just so beautiful to see, those
yeah.
volleys and stuff. Oh, like crazy, man.
He was
But
like a consistent version of Pogba.
yeah, exactly. Like
Damn,
this,
shots fired.
like this guy, like his coaching career is like as good as his playing career. Like he was like a legendary coach for Real Madrid as well, winning multiple Champions Leagues. And yeah, he was great for France. He just did it all. He won so many awards, so many honors, and this guy was just he has to be in everyone's all-time 11 because he is just one of the most creative playmakers of all time, and he'll just fit in to any midfield and just make it so much better. And yeah, I mean,
right.
just he was world class. Really, and he was a big part of why France won the '98 World Cup. Big part of that. So, yeah, glad we agree on Mr. Zidane.
Glad that they are agreeing. Beautiful pick for the center mid position. Now moving on to the right side or the right half of the center attacking mid players, however you guys want to describe it. Who are your picks, Simone? Starting off with you. Are we going to keep this streak together?
I really hope Seth has this pick too. I don't hope. I know he has this guy.
Oh, they know.
None other than the legend Diego Armando Maradona.
100%. Diego Maradona. 100%, my guy. You are right. I have him as that second center attacking mid on the right side, playing right next to Johan Cruyff and a little bit above Zidane. You can't have anyone else there. That's his position. Nope. You just can't.
Exactly.
It's another iconic name.
And let's just rest in peace to Diego Maradona as he passed away a couple years ago?
2020, I believe.
2020,
yes.
Rest in peace to the absolute legend. I mean, like people are saying he's the GOAT. Like a lot of people say he's the GOAT. A lot of people believe that Messi hasn't surpassed Maradona. Like this is some crazy debate stuff. Like that's how good Maradona was. I mean, this guy needs no introduction. I mean, his dribbling was unbelievable. We will never forget that. He scored the two best goals in soccer history.
The one where he dribbled past everybody.
Yeah, I think that was the '86 World Cup or something against England in the, I don't know if it was the final, semifinal, but it was amazing. And
then the
hand of God goal. Everyone knows about that. But yeah, extraordinary dribbler. His behavior wasn't the best on and off the pitch, but it's fine. He was just very outgoing. Oh, he backed it up for sure. And yeah, I mean, this guy was just magic on the field. I mean, you should watch videos of him warming up. Like this dude will, there was this one video, he kicked the ball up in the way up in the air, and just continuously it would come down, he'd kick it up again, and he'd just do it 10, 15 times over again. It's that's a lot harder than it looks, because
it's elite juggling.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, he's just one of the most decorated players, one of the best, probably the best Argentinian player of all time. That's up for debate, obviously. Right. Napoli's top goal scorer. I mean, he was really good for them. And yeah, I think he won a Did he win a Ballon d'Or in '95 when the Ballon d'Or became available to South American players? I'm not sure. I think he did. Somebody check me on that. But
all I know is that if Pelé won, if South American players could have won the Ballon d'Or back in that time, Pelé would have won 7.
Yeah, he would have had 7, dude. I saw that. Yeah, crazy.
But yeah, Maradona.
Go ahead, man.
This guy
talk
is
about
insane.
Maradona.
I just want to. I mean, you said pretty much everything. It's just that watching him, it was like he was on crack every time he played. And the thing was, sometimes he was.
He's built different.
Sometimes he was. I mean, sometimes he'd take it on the line, like they'd make the camera crew face away from him because he needed to smoke some crack. But like, aside from that, like it wasn't every game, and he was just unbelievable. Like, there's players that like if you gave that to other players, they would never be able to do the same things he did. You know, he was one of a kind. And yeah, I mean, just an overall amazing player, and an amazing legacy that he left behind in Napoli and Barcelona, and he really brought Napoli onto the map. You know, he was a big reason for their success. What an insane player! No one thought he was going to go there, and out of nowhere, he ends up going to this club and makes an insane impact. And what's actually funny is I didn't know this, but he's actually Sergio Aguero, one of the most well-known soccer players or strikers in recent years. He's Sergio Aguero's son's grandfather. So Sergio Aguero actually married Maradona's wife.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So
that's interesting.
yeah,
I didn't know that one.
This guy has a lineage coming down. He has Aguero blood and Maradona blood. So if we see this kid in a few years,
Hey, yeah, you never know. But I mean, his presence on the field, his leadership was amazing. I mean, he just possessed an eye for goal. He just would go to goal and wouldn't care who was in his way. And he was a great free kick specialist. And he was just known as the Golden Boy. I mean, that was a name that stuck with him through his career, just because of how good he really became and really was. So Diego Maradona, there's no argument that should be in everyone's all-time 11.
Yeah, absolutely, zero question. Well, great job. We have 3 more players left. The attackers, the top section of the 4-3-3 formation of any soccer formation. And if you guys have been paying attention like I have, I'm pretty sure I think I can name both of yours and Simone's final 3 players, though I wouldn't know the exact positions, like which sides are everything, but I think I can name them all. But why don't you guys go ahead and describe your players one by one. We'll start with you, Simone, with your attackers. Who's the first one you want to mention?
I want to talk about my striker, and that is the epitome of the number 9, R9, Ronaldo Nazario. An absolute goal-scoring legend. This guy can score anything.
I mean, why not? Yeah.
This guy, he has the most confidence in the world, and I mean that seriously. Like, he's still putting in goal after goal after getting laughed at for having the ugliest haircut in the world. And, like, this guy's an absolute legend and fast and can score and he can body people, and that's exactly what you need from a number 9, and he describes a number 9 perfectly.
If we get 100,000 views on this video, Simone will get a haircut just like him.
Yeah, honestly, I'll do it.
Alrighty. Seth, we've talked about Ronaldo before because you've had him on your bench, but who do you want to talk about first?
Yeah, so I'll do my striker as well. And, Simone said I had to have somebody extra spectacular at the striker position if I didn't have R9. And listen, I mean, he put this guy at his left mid, but I'm putting him at striker, and it's Pele. I mean, that is why R9 is on the bench, because I'm not putting Pele on the bench. I am sorry, but Pele, I think I shouldn't talk about soccer ever again if I put Pele on the bench. So,
man.
To me, Pele, yeah, he could play as center forward. He could play as left mid. But for me, he is a striker. I mean, he didn't score his, 1,200 goals for not playing striker. So, I mean, we've already talked about him, and it's Pele. Everyone knows Pele. Everyone knows his brilliance.
Everyone knows him.
Like, even though he never really played for, a top European club, it doesn't matter. That just shows how good he was, that he was able to become arguably the best player of all time just in South America. absolute pioneer of soccer, Brazilian legend, the best there is, the best there was, honestly. And yeah, I mean, we already said it. If the Ballon d'Or was awarded to South American players, Pele, according to like France Football magazine, who does the Ballon d'Or voting, Pele would have 7, which would be tied for Messi right now. And I'm pretty sure that would maybe not end the GOAT debate, but it would definitely put a little nail in it for sure. But yeah, I mean, iconic, legend.
What a
Can't say
player.
anything about it. I can't
Yeah,
say
can't say enough
Can't say
about-
enough. Exactly.
About Pele.
Can't say enough.
But
Legend.
you know, such a great player. But now we're getting to the twilight here of this all-time 11, and 2 players left. 2 very notable players that have not been described by Seth or Simone yet. Well, Simone did briefly, jokingly mention one of them on the bench, but that was a joke, obviously. But Simone, for realsies this time, who else do you want to mention on your attackers?
I just want to say that I agree with Seth. Pele is an amazing striker, but the thing is, he's also a very good playmaker. And I had to have Ronaldo, the number 9 legend, as my striker. And I know that Pele might have been... Pele definitely would have been there if I had 2, but for now in this lineup, I had to have him in that center mid because he has to be in the lineup. You know, he has to.
Has to be.
So yeah, I like that pick that you chose. I did like that.
Makes sense.
All right. So for my left wing, I have none other than the hardest working footballer with the most insane mentality ever to ever exist, Cristiano Ronaldo.
Let's go. I still don't have the custom sound in, but if I did, we'd be playing it.
And you know, before you talk about Ronaldo, you already know Cristiano Ronaldo is my left wing choice as well. I mean, he's the GOAT.
Oh,
I mean, he's the GOAT. Period. It's just what it is. I mean, I may be biased because I'm a Cristiano Ronaldo fanboy, but like, he's the GOAT.
oh,
Like, it is what it
okay.
is. So yeah. Sorry, Simone. You can
Continue.
talk about Ronaldo. I just had to put that out there.
Say.
I mean, who doesn't know about Ronaldo? He's the most followed person on Instagram also. Like,
Yeah.
this
That
guy
helps, though, yeah.
is an absolute legend. He's done everything he needs to do. The one thing he's missing is that World Cup, and he has a good chance at it this year. So,
That would
yeah,
be
I
loud.
mean, one of the best players to ever exist. His prime was insane. He just can score anything you want him to score. Anywhere, anytime, anything. This guy
So
was
good.
an absolute menace on the pitch. There's not much I want to talk about because everyone already knows everything about him. Like, he's one of the hardest working players. He came from nothing, like a lot of players do, but he really struggled, and he fought for what he has, and he deserves it. He was training day in and day out, and he's what players should look up to because this guy he's the definition of no days off, just hard work, and hard work.
Hard work. Exactly.
And that's why he is where he is right now. That's where he is. He made it, you know. He's one of the best players to ever exist in football, and it's going to stay that way for the rest of eternity.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I 100% agree, of course. I mean, yeah, hardest working player, best mentality of all time, one of the most decorated players of all time, just a pure prolific goal scorer. I mean, yeah, this guy in his prime, like early, like Manchester United days and like early Real Madrid days, he was like the best player on the planet. Like, I mean, this guy could beat anyone one-on-one, just had an eye for goal, and was just so skillful, so technically sound, and just a really good leader. That's something I love to bring up about Ronaldo is he's a really strong leader. And
Yeah, that's
you know,
very
not
true.
not a lot of the legends and goats are, you know, obviously some are, but there are some who we will get to that aren't the best leaders. But yeah, like this guy, really good with both feet. And I mean, he 5-time Ballon d'Or winner. Like, what can you say? Like, he's just done it all in football. Like, he has accomplished everything except win a World Cup, and that's what he's looking to do this year. I hope he can do it. I'll be rooting for him. But yeah, he is just that guy and deserves to be in everyone's all-time 11. And there should be no questions asked. I mean, Cristiano Ronaldo is a great footballer, one of the best.
One of the best indeed. All right. We just want to thank you guys for watching. If you made it up to this point, we have one player to talk about. And if you guys know who this player is, be sure to give a like on this video and subscribe to the Squad Goals, the S2 Strikers channel, because we've got a lot more content coming your way. But anyways, it should be really no surprise who your right winger player is. Do you guys want to say his name at the same time? Should we try that again?
I don't know. It might be a little. We might have a different player here. Could be interesting. I don't know.
I mean, it's up to you. I'm down to do it. We mentioned him earlier today, so.
All right. I'm going to count down from 3, and you guys better not disappoint me, or I'm going to cut the recording right away.
I might be disappointed.
All right. All-time 11, right winger. 3, 2, 1.
David
Angel Di
Beckham.
Maria.
Beautiful. And that's going to do it for today's stream, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Okay, so, Simone, you're right winger for your all-time 11.
Mm-hmm.
You guys had pretty decent fake picks, too. But anyways.
David Beckham would
Yeah,
be part of my honorable mentions, actually, if there was more room. He's a great player. But
I forgot to add him as well. I wanted to say Angel Di Maria because he is the same nationality as this player, and that is Lionel Andres Messi.
All righty. And Seth
I hope you have the same guy.
You know, unfortunately, I do. I guess I had to put him in because I guess it's like, you know, it just makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I love Ronaldo. He's an amazing player to watch. His technical ability, like you said, is brilliant. But we do have the greatest player of all time in our lineup now.
Yes, sir. He knows what's up.
I mean, Messi's okay. Like he he does his thing, but nah. All right, okay. Yeah. So I got Lionel Messi, guys, at the right wing position. I mean, listen. Even though I'm a Cristiano Ronaldo fanboy, I have nothing but mad respect for Messi. I mean, like, this guy is honestly probably the best player in the world. Like, even as a Ronaldo fan, like, it's just hard to deny his pure talent. I mean, you're talking about a guy that has 7 Ballon d'Ors to his name. Like, the greatest Barcelona player of all time. One of the most decorated footballers. Struggled a little internationally with Argentina, but he's just recently won 2 cups, 2 trophies, so that's good for him. But yeah, so many awards, so many wonderful moments, he's just, even for his size, he plays so aggressively. It's so hard to get the ball off him. He will be so physical.
He has the
with
ball
you.
Glued to his foot. He has it glued to his foot as well.
It's some magnet.
Is.
It's weird.
It literally is. And, like, I mean, some of the runs he's made and goals he's scored and passes he's made, like his vision, free kicks too, his ability to create chances, to literally pick up the ball in one half and literally carry it all the way down and score or assist on the other end in a matter of seconds. It's just pure brilliance. It really does remind me of Diego Maradona. And, like, I mean, this player is just...
We're lucky to be living in this generation.
We really are. And it's sad that both Messi and Ronaldo are coming to the ends of their careers. But hopefully we'll get a really good World Cup where they put it all out on the line one more time. But, yeah, I mean, he is, like, the best dribbler of all time. And his control and patience and ability just to create plays and opportunities for his team is really like none other. He is an absolute phenom, an absolute beast. And Messi, just like Ronaldo, deserves to be on this on everybody's all-time 11 list. No questions asked.
Yeah. I mean, Messi isn't as flashy as Ronaldo was in his prime, but he used body feints, and
But he had his moments.
that's all he really needed. Exactly. I'm just saying, like, Messi knew exactly when to run, when to stop, when to look up, when to pass. He had everything down to, like, he had everything timed perfectly, and he could do anything because of how aware he was. And like I was talking about Mesut Ozil earlier, he had eyes on the back of his head because he always knew where the players were, and he didn't even look at them.
Yeah.
He's an amazing player, and I also love Ronaldo, but I do have to say that Messi is probably the best player in the world. The only thing I do have to say in regards to Ronaldo is that Ronaldo has shown that he can perform at even some of the lowest standards at a club like Manchester United last season.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
Messi
he's not
at
wrong.
PSG wasn't able to, sustain that same amount of skill. Messi really relies on the rest of his team. Like Seth said, Cristiano Ronaldo is a born leader, not really Messi. And Ronaldo can literally fit in anywhere and make an impact. And Messi, as we saw at PSG, despite having so much talent around him, he really relied on people that focus on him and that, that are his kind of players. Like PSG does not play the same style of football that Messi does. And that's why he hasn't been playing as well. And that's the
Yeah.
issue with Messi, is that he's not as adjustable as Ronaldo is. He can't just adjust and switch,
Yeah, so if we ever do a GOAT debate, I'll talk about this more in the GOAT debate. But since you brought it up now, I definitely agree with that with Messi and Ronaldo. I think like I don't want to say it like this, but I'll just say it anyways. To me, Messi's like a Barcelona system player. Like for Messi to thrive, like he's got to be at Barcelona. Like that's his system. That's what he's used to. You plug him in in another club, another system, it's just not the same. And like Simon said, we're seeing that now at PSG. But Ronaldo, I mean, he did it at Juventus, did it at Man U, really did it at Real Madrid. Like he can do it at different places. And something that I always think is funny and like to see is they always say to like something about like to prove if you're the best, you got to be able to prove that you can do it on a cold rainy night in Stoke. And yeah, you've heard of that. And I think Ronaldo could get it done on a cold rainy night in Stoke, but I really think Messi would struggle a lot.
I agree.
And I think that's
do
just
agree
the
with that.
difference there. So I just wanted to end the podcast by saying that, because that's definitely a note that should be thought about for this
sir.
debate. But
Fair enough.
that'll be another time.
Ladies
I do
and
completely agree.
ladies and gentlemen, we did it.
Yeah.
We made it through the all-time 11.
It's been done.
It really shocked me that the most divisive part was the reserves. But looking back on it, it makes sense because your guys' all-time 11 was really quite unanimous. You guys knew who the best player in each position was, and the best player overall in the world, best players overall in the world were. And even though your benches and your reserves were varied, I think you guys had very respectable players, and you guys knew each other's thought process going in. So makes a lot of sense to me, and hopefully to you guys as well. And this is a extremely long podcast. We're going to cut it now. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for next week is episode 9, which is crazy, but hope you enjoyed this week's episode. Simone and Seth are our co-stars. I'm your host, Gabe Willerziak, and we're the squad. Squad goals are we're signing out. We'll see you guys next week.
Peace.
Peace.